Creators Game, episode 45. I'm Deya Miller.
Chris Vale.
Jake Henhawk.
And how is everyone? It is a brand new year, new year, everybody. How's everyone been?
Been pretty good. How about yourself?
Been very busy. Even though we haven't been podding, I've been staying very busy. So I'm super happy about that. What about yourself?
Very peaceful and about to get busy with minor lacrosse starting up. So pretty excited about that.
Yes, minor lacrosse definitely is going to have a lot of parents coming at you.
Yep, there's always some questions and concerns regardless of what's going on and what stage of the tryouts or even season. So we're always fielding questions and always willing to talk to parents and try to gear them towards volunteering a little bit more.
Okay, volunteering a little bit more. What about you, Vale? We've been to 2 games so far. All right, where else where do we got to head next? We have to put some things out there that we need to go to start more of these games. We need some tickets.
Yeah, no, like we said, next weekend's Indigenous, right? Indigenous night. They got Ottawa comes to town for a rock. That'd be cool to go to check it out.
We better be going to that one.
Yeah, and then
shameless plug.
Yeah, like we said, I said to Ottawa they did a Creators Game night. We could have got invited. Come on.
Coulda. We shoulda.
Yeah.
But let's get right into it. So, looked a little bit. From what we've seen here, consultant with Halifax Thunderbirds, vice president of Six Nations Minor Lacrosse. You were the GM of U.S. Box World Team, and then you assisted with Riptide.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So, what's a consultant for Halifax Thunderbirds?
More scouting and analytics, stuff like that. That's a big part of the game that I love, actually breaking down just film on my own and watching different characteristics of guys and more tendencies to kind of help not just GM and assistant GM, but coaches see what might possibly happen.
So you're basically looking for you're looking for things that make players tick.
In a sense, yes, but more so even just in offensive sets, even defensive sets, just what their tendencies are, what they're looking to accomplish when they're on the floor as well. So just trying to break down and see what defenses are doing, what our offense can do against them, and vice versa, what our defense can do against other teams' offenses and what they're trying to do as well.
When you're watching game tapes, what's the thing that kind of stands out the most for you?
In most cases, a lot of the creativity now. I think that a lot of the players are just more athletic and more dynamic. Just like you said, you're at the Rock game last night, right? And you see a player like CJ Kirst, who went first overall. It's only really his second real year of playing box lacrosse. He's more field. And just seeing the types of plays that he's trying to make. And even I believe it was his second goal where he cut over top and kind of circus dive shot. You just never saw things like that before, right? And now you're just seeing more players just willing to go the extra effort and try to make a nice play to make the play, right? So
I think even when we were driving to the game last night, I said talking about today, I was like, Jake GM, that USA team, which pretty much put CJ Kirst on the map. I was like, yeah, he played Mimico Junior A, but that was his first time playing box on the TSN and ESPNs and kind of playing versus the best of the best.
Yeah, and you'll see even more of an uprising with the U.S. players coming into the league. And like the year before, Brennan O'Neill went first overall, obviously CJ this past year, and it'll be a good draft class next year, but I would not be surprised to see Joey Spallina go first overall next year or this year coming up. And I think he was the youngest he was definitely the youngest on the U.S. box team, but he might have been one of the youngest with Trey Deer at the World Games in general, in the top pool anyways. And he was one of our main contributors at 21 years old, playing against NLL players that have played in the pro leagues for 10, 15 years, and he was a top contributor.
What do you think it was about him that stood out that he could actually compete at such a young age with someone, with other players who have been there for a while?
Drive.
Yeah.
Motivation. He wants it. I think he's a player that truly loves the game, and you can see just the way that he listens to any advice anybody gives him, or even when we were just talking in film there, like just me observing him, like he's jotting his own notes down, and he's an actual student of the game, right? So I think he's got a good family around him. I think his you would know more than I, but his dad had a very good college career too, right? And he's PLL now coaching.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if that's kind of being that coach's son. Like his dad coached in GM the Lizards and PLL, and his uncle was like Brian Spallino. He was known as more of like a tough guy meathead, but a lockdown defender all the years in the MLL and won a lot of rings. So,
but I think the biggest thing is, I think he actually loves the game, and I don't think he wants to play it all the time. And so I think that's what he always thinks about. Like I don't know what his academics are like, but
yeah, like
lacrosse, he's a stud.
He might be doodling around plays in math class up there at Syracuse, right?
Well, I hate to skip ahead, but this kind of goes to one of the things I was going to talk about later in the podcast. But just like some players that are all signal and no noise. Like when I say that, I mean that like if their goal is to be the best, they're all signal. There's no distractions. There's no noise. There's no family. There's no girls. There's no school. It's just like the only thing I want to be is the best. Like, is he one of those players?
I think he can be, yeah. Time will tell. I think that his focus is to be his best version of himself. I don't know if it's the best in the world, but I think that would be probably his vision, is to be the best Joey Spallina, just like it would be for a Jeff Teat, right? Josh Byrne, same, Dane Smith, guys like that. You just don't hear much about them offline, but you go on social media, you see them a lot just with their lacrosse abilities, right? Highlight reel plays, whatever the case may be. But I think young guys like Joey, he could be one of the best, yeah. Time will tell, though, right? Mm-hmm. We can say that about a lot of guys. It's just a matter of their drive and their focus and determination, right?
No free ads, but there's that shrinking commercial is pretty good with one of the Kavanaugh brothers and Brendan O'Neill. Like, they're really lacrosse guys, and they're joking around about like what school's better, Duke and stuff. And he's like, Notre Dame's better because we're 13th, and that's in academics. It was saying, that was funny. Yeah, we're higher. Yeah, Duke's 8, and then he's like, where Tom Schreiber go to school? Princeton. They're number 1. Oh, we won't rub it into them. And then they're like, did you bring a lacrosse ball? No. Damn. Hopefully Tom did.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
But like the lacrosse guys, right? Went to this academic schools, but they seem to be all lacrosse as well.
But you talk about drive and determination and wanting to be the best. Like, I don't know if you've seen like in the last probably 24, 48 hours circling social media, but they're just going back. I think it's 10 years now. Like Cody Jamieson.
Yeah, that was
in the Ontario finals against Peterborough, right? Tore ACL, skipped the first 3. Peterborough went up 3-0. Then he said, screw it, I'm playing. And they came back and won 4 straight.
Chiefs were dead in the water there, right? Like they were looking to get swept right out, and Peterborough had lost the year before to Victoria, but it looked like then they were going to go back to the Mann Cup. And I wonder too how many people knew that before it really circulated again yesterday, because like you figure a lot of young guys maybe forget, or those games were just kind of, it was just a little bit before the tick of social media of the lacrosse world and stuff, like those games were streamed on JVI, but I wonder how many, like a lot of probably fresh eyes got on that post yesterday.
So you talk about drive and wanting to be the best. I think that might be the poster for it, right? Like,
that's going to be a new thing. Like, if you're hurt, it'd be like, you better get out there. Cody Jamieson would have.
Well, I think there's times where you got to be smart about it and whatnot, but you do have guys like Cody where you can't, he's not going to take no for an answer. He's just going to go. And you just step out of the way and say, okay. And
like I said, they put the knee brace on him, and then he did play a couple of games in the Mann Cup. They beat Maple Ridge that year, and then like, hey, that was him getting his 3rd Mann Cup ring that year, and now he's got 6. So he's just kind of kept the train rolling.
Yeah, I seen someone commenting saying he's going to need more fingers for all the rings, and another hand, I guess.
He's got a Minto 3 NLL.
Yeah, 3
and
NLL.
then 6 mans.
Yep, 2 OCC out at junior college and a CUSE.
So he's already onto his feet.
Yeah, so it's like, and then plus all those like bronze and silver medals, and I don't know if he won anything else ever really in minor. And he's got it's a lot of hardware in his garage or basement, wherever he keeps his stuff.
Even when his playing days are over, he's going to be like John Tavares. He's just going to keep adding. He'll be a great coach. Yep.
So I want to get back to how you got involved with Halifax. Like, what was the process like that? Like, how did the opportunity come about?
I think you got to go back before that. I was doing the GM job for the Six Nations Arrows, and I got brought in 2013 near the end of the year. And then I fully took over the job in 2014, and then we made the Minto Cup finals. We won that year out in BC, and we had a lot of prospects that year, like Josh Johnson, Quinn Paulus, Hyundai's Miracle, Donnie Alton, and that were entering the draft early. So at that point, Vancouver had their team in Langley, BC at that time, playing at the Langley Event Center. So the general manager, Doug Locker, at that time, he messaged me and just asked if I wanted to meet, if we can set up some interviews with some of their players. And we got talking a bit more, and he offered me a scouting job, Eastern scouting job with the Vancouver Stealth at that time, and I took it. Did that for a few years, and then my contract was up. I didn't want to renew it, and then I got hooked in. I talked to Kurt a bit, and he offered me a spot, same type deal with the Rochester Nighthawks at that time, and I took it. So that's when I got with them, and then the Riptide came in, and Reggie Thorpe was the head coach GM at that time, and I've always had a great relationship with Reggie as well, from him coaching with the Six Nations Arrows. And he offered me a higher position, so I took that with Riptide their first initial year. Then COVID hit, and then we got released. And then maybe a few weeks later, me and Kurt got talking again, and he just asked me to come back in. So
like going back to like 2014, what do you think it was about you that like people gravitated towards and being like, hey, I think this guy can find the players that we need?
Winning helps.
Winning helps. Okay.
So
for sure.
Like before that, like I was coaching and doing manager stuff for Mississauga Tomahawks. They're no longer a team. Like they moved to Mimico, but they were a perennial lower bottom team in the Junior A League. For whatever reason, nobody wanted to play there. Their minor association didn't produce enough quality players. They always produced some good high-end guys, maybe one or two a year, but it's not enough to sustain. So we would always have great drafts. We'd always have great picks, and just guys wouldn't want to come. They'd just stay and play Junior B, or we'd have to move them to another A center for some guys that would come play. So then just talking to Scott Smith, who ran the Arrows at that point, and he'd asked me if I was ready to come home and do the Arrows.
Did you beat the Arrows in a game when you were in Mississauga, or came close? Or I remember hearing to some guys when
there was one close game. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't say it was a close game within 4 goals.
I think there was a couple of players that used to play Six Nations Slash, and I feel like the one guy used to always talk about that game. Yeah. I couldn't remember if he said you won, where he's like, we should have won. Maybe that's what he was always.
Yeah, I just missed the 1 year before, like when John Tavares played in Mississauga, because he played Junior A as I think it was 14-year-old, like the John Tavares with the Leafs.
Yep.
And they were getting pretty dirty with some of the Arrows guys, like their D guys were taking some liberties on the Arrows offensive guys. So I forget who the player was, but he went up to John Tavares and said, if you want your hockey career to stay on track, you're going to tell your D guys to stop.
There you go.
And they didn't have to put up with anything for the rest of the game. So he must have went to the bench and said, it's time to calm down a bit.
We need that back in the sport.
Yeah, right.
That's yeah.
All right, so I want to go backwards a little bit.
Sure.
So let's get into I guess when you originally started lacrosse. So when's the first time you picked up a lacrosse stick?
I don't remember.
Oh, is it going that far back?
I'm 40. I'll be 42 in April, so that's a lot of years. I would somewhere 2-3 years old.
When did it start getting like? I know you played Rebels, so was when Rebels kind of like when you competed it like competitively?
My first year playing, I was going into Pee Wee, so that'd be U13 now. I never played until then. My brother, growing up, he always played, and I liked going to watch him play more than actually playing myself. But once I start playing, I'm like, yeah, this is great. It's fun. So I kept playing, but honestly, it was probably my brother that got me into playing more. And at that point, he was actually playing for the Brantford Posse at that time, junior, when they had a good junior B team back then, and a lot of this was before the Rebels were a team, and that's where all the guys from home here would go up and they'd play there. Then the year after, that's when the Rebels came in, and then he came back down, and then they won a Founders Cup. I think the next year, in '97, and then he went up to the Arrows the year after, then played in the Minto Cup. That they didn't. That's the year that. 97, I think, 98. I think that's when Delby Paulus and Kim Squire and Trent Hill, Jason Henhawk, they're all first, second year Arrows players. So, the sky's the limit at that point. But ultimately, they went to Burnaby and they lost 4-1 to a very old 21-year-old team. And it was a tough series for them.
That's crazy to think the Rebels started in '97.
I think it was 96.
Oh, 96?
Yeah. But still, like that, like you said, like the Arrows 92, and then those guys in mid-90s, and it's like how many times these teams have won and been legendary Canadian, box
the Arrows actually started in Junior B.
Oh, very true, yeah.
Yeah, they that's where they got their start. Then they didn't get into Junior A until, I think it was 1990.
Wasn't it 92? Because
that's the year they won.
Oh, okay.
So they played 2 years in A, then they finally won. They finally won.
And then even the Chiefs then, right? Because wasn't that all these good 92 players need a place to play senior, so then the Chiefs start in the early 90s, so it's like...
We've always, like, when I was with the Arrows, we always had team dinners after the games up in the hall at the ILA, and Lou Stotts, who was he was one of the founders of the team, and we'd always talk about stuff, and I always asked him why it took so long, and I'm trying to remember, but I think there was always said that you don't have a big enough center for a Junior A team. But we had, either way, Orangeville's no bigger than Six Nations, right?
Yeah, still
at
small
that
town,
point,
Ontario,
they had a Junior A team, but we had more players. So, like, some of our players would have to go to St. Catharines at that point, and even go to Hamilton. I think they're called Bay Area at that time. So then we got our team. Then that's when Cam Bomberry and all the guys that came home to play.
I think I did see, like you said, like Tim Bomberry might have played there. A couple. You said couple of those older guys, right? Like.
Yeah, that's crazy to think, like, how long it's been. And, like, we don't reminisce about, like, where it all started. Like, we kind of think, like, like, the game needs to grow. But, like, sometimes we need to take a step and then step back and be like, well, look how far we've came.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't like the grow the game thing. It's always evolve.
Yeah.
I like evolve the game. Like, grow the game. What does that mean, really?
So would evolve be kind of like Sixes then? Because that's evolving.
It's evolving. It's a different. What do they call it? Discipline, I guess. But I think you got to evolve in any discipline that you're playing in, and what can we do to make it better? What's next? If we're like, to me, there's a time period, maybe 10 years ago. I think I said it in a OLA AGM. Like, it just seems like we're stagnant. We're not really doing anything to make lacrosse better in Ontario. And that's why I said, we're more just taking this Band-Aid off and putting a fresh one on, right? Instead of just ripping the patch off, and let's see what we can do to evolve the game and make it actually better. And, like, they came out with this thing last night, or maybe, I think it was Friday, CLA came out with a new rule set, and even for minors, and that's a good start. but I also think they should reconsider some of the changes, especially to the U11s, U13s, U15s.
Isn't it crease dives now?
I my son played in the Rock Elite League last year, and they played the NLL rules, and so you're allowed to crease dives, the dunks, and all that, but that's on turf, right?
Yeah,
and it's more elite players and that are more able to control their bodies when they're going through the air. And you go to somewhere like Burlington, they don't have the turf, right? Like, that's gonna hurt.
I was playing
not just that, like, kids are going towards the goalie. Are they going to be able to control themselves, to steer themselves away from the goalie, or is that D guy going to come in and push down even more on that guy and cause more, like...
That's like, I was playing this tournament, it would have been like 2019 in Newtown, like the Kevin White tournament, and the guy, he was an older player, maybe like later 30s. He did a crease dive, and like you said, that player landed on him. He shattered his elbow. The goal, and then the goal, the refs counted the goal, and then the convener of the tournament came into our locker room next and was like, hey, remember, no crease dives. He's like, we already had a guy get hurt, and the refs called it a goal, even though it shouldn't have been, because we can't am rules. And then that guy, like, I think he was like a chef at a restaurant, like talking to him after, and he's like, he's kind of lost his job because he crease dived and shattered his elbow, and it's like, you didn't have to do that. You could have just shot it.
I don't think these kids are going to lose their jobs. But, I think maybe just like I like the crease rule, like the live ball in the crease.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good one. I was telling
pick it out and play, but I think the crease dive is kind of a bad one to start at U11, 13s, and 15s.
I don't know, though, but what about, like, the only ones who are going to attempt that are the ones who physically can, and they might be, like, more mature. They're bigger. Like, you're not going to see some little tiny guy do that, and if he does, and he does it right, then, like, kudos to him.
Yeah, kudos to him, but I think more often than not, the refs are going to have a hard time with it this year.
Do you think some of those players, like when they go back from NLL to Summer Bowl, where you're putting your stick in the crease to grab that loose ball, and then they do it in the summer, do you think that takes a little bit for those players to kind of transition back?
Oh yeah, even the refs. Like, I think this is one of the big things is the refs were pushing. Don't quote me on it, but I think the refs were more pushing for the change more than anything, just because they have to go from reffing the NLL championship to the next week going back to the CLA or OLA rule book, right, where it's just completely different.
And like you, 100%. And watching those majority of these games, these guys are from, they're all the Ontario refs. Like, I have the guys, I don't remember their names. I talk to them here and there, but I'm like, you watch an NLL game, the guys are from around the block here that ref local lacrosse.
Yeah, I think they should have tinkered with it a bit and maybe add one element to each age group, and then as you get older, you get another block, you get another block, you get another block.
And we were saying too, is that kind of why CLA, that was like last week, did their commissioners kind of did their...
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but
yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, like another kind of just like switch up thing, or
is it just a I'm going to have you paid thing, or are these commissioners actually going to be like they are in the CHL, like they'll actually govern the OHL, the Quebec Hockey League, or the WHL?
Because that was my thinking too. Like, so I can't remember the one that does like MSL, but like in WLA, whoever their commissioner is a CLA commissioner now, like you said, higher than them? Can like?
Well, yeah, that's what I asked I asked a couple of the junior A governors about it, and they didn't have any clear answer. They're just like, I don't know.
And then like the senior A commissioner, like he's from St. Albert, so that they say, oh, you don't have senior A and you just run the senior B team. So yeah, you can be commissioner because you won't have like a dog in the fight kind of thing.
I think the one thing that would be good that comes out of this is more so in the junior and senior levels is they actually play under the same rules.
Yep.
Not just on the floor rules, but off the floor rules, as in, like, I don't know how it is now because I've been out of that part for the last couple of years, but before, Ontario was considered an A province and Alberta's a B province, and I think BC is considered a B province, or was.
Yeah, because I thought that would be A too.
That's why they're allowed to come to nationals and just grab players from other teams without and send them back the next year. And that, I think if they played under that same rule, I think that's what keeps the Minto and Man Cup competitive, allowing teams to do that. But what's going to happen if that gets taken out and they actually have to play by what Ontario plays by? Maybe that's going to put more emphasis on these provinces to actually go down and develop more players at the minor levels.
Because like you said, even it was the junior A this year was that Malowski, whatever junior B trade happened and he's stashed, and then he's playing in the Minto for Quitlam. But really, you're on the junior B Founders Cup team, and you didn't even go to the Founders Cup. Right?
There's always loopholes. I found many of them.
Yeah,
you got to be
creative, right?
You got to be very good at finding those loopholes when you're successful.
I feel like that's all the OLAs are, something like just trying to find these little loopholes and stuff like that, trying to figure out ways that you can finesse your way into things.
Even the IRR, I think that was years ago I found out about the IRR because the one guy from one of the local teams, he was like coaching more in the States, but then he got to come back and play a game, and then he played all playoffs, and they were like, oh, he was on the injured list. But then a couple of years ago with the Chiefs, that 22 year where Lyle came back for the Ontario finals. And then and the same kind of the next year was Dane. Like these guys weren't hurt. Lyle was just leading the PLL in points all summer. Like that's where it kind of almost made come the mockery of it almost. Right? Like,
well, it's the same thing. Like who the Chiefs, the Bellies, they had Jeff Teed on their thing, I think too.
Yep.
And a few other guys, like even with the Chiefs with Hosick coming back, and like they can get done the PLL championship long weekend and then come to the Man Cup the next weekend.
Then when Donovan last year got cut by the Boston Cannons, I was like, does he come back to Brooklyn? And then somebody was like, I don't know if Brooklyn knew enough to put him on the IR, but Denver Outlaws did pick him up. But still, like, hey, sometimes you got to keep that guy. You never know if he's going to get cut in the PLL and may want to come back.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. Mm-hmm. I don't see any other sport like that, right? Just lacrosse.
Because even like you said, senior hockey, like senior hockey's in the winter, it's just the ex-NHL guys or guys that are minor league guys. They're not the actual NHL guys coming back to Canada to play senior, or the North America to play senior, kind of amateur lacrosse hockey, right? Like, it's lacrosse. Yeah.
So let's get into like management and working with the teams and stuff like that. So like when you have to like speak to the players, do you feel like you have to kind of like, as let's say talking to like a junior A player, junior B player, and then talking to like NLL, do you have to like change the tone, or do you feel like once they're in the junior, you can kind of just they're old enough to get it, you can kind of talk to them all the same way?
I think it depends on what it's about and what the situation is. There's times where, like, if you're just talking to them about buses leaving at this time, make sure you're there. It's casual, right? If practice is canceled or if we're changing dates, it's casual. But, once you get later into the season, you got to the tone does need to change a little bit, especially in junior, because or even senior, right? Like these guys have known about these little things from junior stuff. But like once you get deeper into the playoffs, you got to make sure that certain things are done at certain dates because of I forget what it's called, but you can't make sure that you have certain drug testing stuff done, whether it's online and stuff like that. So you got to be kind of on them about that, because some guys are just yeah, and then 3 weeks later, like, oh yeah, I'm doing it today, and then 2 days later, yeah, sorry.
Give me 2 more weeks.
Yeah. Like I said, they're very nonchalant, but that's a serious thing. Like,
you don't do this, you're not playing. Like, we're not gonna risk our championship hopes because you're not gonna do this 10-minute online test.
Because you're a procrastinator, right? Like,
what do you think is like something that a professional team looks for in maturity, and to be like, maybe they got the skills to play, maybe they're determined, they got all the talent in the world, but they're not mature. They're not mature enough to be in a league that, like, this is a business.
I don't know if I should say it this way, but just look at the players in the NLL and then look at the players in the ALL. There's a lot of players in the ALL that could easily play NLL, but what are they doing away from the floor?
I know there was a player, he's not in the league anymore, but there's like hockey down here, and I guess he went to the hockey team's Christmas party the Thursday night, and because he had a 1-game suspension. This was like 5 years ago, and I was like, "What'd you do to get suspended?" Like thinking like, did he do something in the next game? He's like, "Oh, I missed the flight." He goes, "I was really at the team's Christmas party, but I told the team like, oh, I got held up at the border, and that's why I missed my flight." And instead of them then like losing out and then booking him another flight, they just gave him a 1-game suspension.
Well, it's like even when we talk about like coming up to the drafts, like the NLL drafts and stuff, like you almost look at players that are coming out of college before you do a 21-year-old that's just in college here that's just going to graduate out of junior, right? Like it's such a different, they have to have such a different mindset and programming if they're especially at like a D1 school like Virginia or North Carolina or Duke, right? Like if you're not here, like you're in crap. Like there's no excuse. They're not gonna accept that, right? Like you're there to be an adult. You're there to grow up quick. You're there to learn. You're there to grow as a person. So when they come out of those programs, like a lot of these guys come out of it like men, as opposed to like they come out 22, 23-year-old men, as opposed to getting a 21-year-old that's kind of just coming out of junior lacrosse, or they're either just working or if they're just at college or university in here, right, where it's not as intense. So then you get to the NLL or any other professional sport for that matter, like you got to, if you miss these deadlines or these dates or times, like they're not waiting for you, right? You miss a flight, find your way home.
The academic world really prepares you for that, because like that's what like I even say like school is important, but like it's more important for the social aspect, for like understanding that you have to show up on time, understanding what people are looking for, and understanding just how the world kind of works. Yes, school is important. You're gonna learn, but you're gonna learn the social aspect.
Absolutely.
And then so like sometimes you have some athletes around here that they don't go to school. They stay at home, and they're surrounded and like they're immersed in whatever their home life is. Yeah. And maybe their home life hasn't excelled, and then now they're not going to excel because they're still surrounded in that unfortunate situation.
The big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, and like you said too, I think a lot of other people almost talked about it as a physical aspect of you're getting this in shape, bigger, stronger player. Where I liked how you were kind of, it's the maturity of it as well, and that's like a huge part of it.
Well, and you know, like you kind of got to watch these guys as they get older too. You know, obviously, the evolution of life. You're gonna get a girlfriend. You're gonna get married. You're gonna have the kids, right? You're gonna have your job. So at that point, you got to look at. Yes, you have to take care of those 4 responsibilities, but are you also taking care of your own body? Are you keeping yourself in shape? Are you going to the gym? Are you doing your work and going to a chiropractor or whatever that case may be? Whatever you need to do to take care of your body, are you still taking the time to do that? Like, if not, then we got to find somebody that is going to, because now if you're not taking care of yourself, that's just going to lead to injuries. That's going to lead to the program not being as successful, because you're only going to be as successful as your weakest link, right?
And that's why a guy like a Matt Vince is 42, 43 still in the league, right?
He's probably the best shape of anybody in the league.
Yeah, it's kind of like no one's going to invest in you if you're not invested in yourself, and no one's going to take you serious if you don't take yourself serious. So yeah, like I 100% agree. The academic world prepares you for that. And so like, let's say if you're a young player and like you have the choice of staying around here or going to school, but obviously funding is a barrier, but how would you convince someone? What would you say? Like, if it's like give 2 scenarios of players and be like, yeah, like here's the 2 options. Here's why this one works. Here's why going to school works.
I don't know if I want to say players,
or just
I'll give you scenarios. Yeah. Actually, this scenario actually popped up a few years back when I was doing some stuff for 3D Lacrosse. That's in the States, field lacrosse, right? They had hired me to do they teamed up with Nike N7. I think it was 2017 that year was, and they hired me to put a team together of kids from here, Akwesasne, Seneca, wherever, Onondaga, just a team of native kids. Nike would set them up, foot the bill. Like, they set these kids up from the cleats jerseys, shorts, pads, helmet, gloves, sticks. Like, they set them up nice. Like, they probably invested 50, 75,000. Hotels paid for them, everything for these players to go to. We went down to Delaware for the weekend, and the boys did well. Like, it was a lot of their first times actually playing club lacrosse, like field lacrosse, like that, in a club tournament. And like we cleaned up. I think we went 5-0 and tied, but you know, wins and losses don't really matter at that thing. You're just there to get the scouts looking at your kids, right? Like, scouts don't say, "Did you win?" Like, they just say, they just look at how you play.
They're looking at the individual to see where they could potentially go.
And then also just watching them, how they interact with their teammates, interacting with their parents, interacting with their opponents after games, stuff like that, right? But I had a lot of we had a very good team. We had a few guys that were already committed at that point to D1 schools or D2 schools. And the rest of them, we had calls for a good chunk of them. And we had a really young guy from here. I think he was only 14, grade 9, playing against grade 12s. And he was one of our better players. And I'd asked I told his mom, you know, that this prep school in the States is really interested in your son. I said, I think it'd be a great opportunity for him. Like, and he had great academics. He was a smart kid, did well in school. Yeah, he was pretty mature. And she said, no, I don't want him to go. I was like, well, just let him go for the semester where he's going to play. Like, just let him get away. Let him see what outside of these fences look like. See what the world looks like outside of the reserve once in a while. And I said, it might not be for him, and that's okay. But just give him that opportunity to see for himself first before shutting that door before it even opens, right? And ultimately, that kid didn't end up get to going, and we sent another kid, and that kid's in the NLL, and probably could play in the PLL. And this kid was not as talented. I don't think the kid's grades were as good, but if you don't take that chance, you don't know, right? Yeah,
sometimes, it's about, you got to be determined. You got to be willing to fail. If you go out there and it doesn't work, that's okay.
And you know what? And sometimes people thrive on the unknown. It's almost like survival, right? Like, oh crap, this is real. I'm nobody's here for me. And it's just me now. I have to do this. And it's almost like sink or swim, right? You either have it or you don't. And sometimes when you just get thrown in the trenches, you're going to find out real quick about yourself. And I think that kid found out real quick, and he adapted himself, and he's made a pretty good life for himself.
Plus, too, that 3D was well known. Like, there was 3D in New York and Boston, so that was pretty cool. Like, you had a team and it was all native kids, and I'm sure those coaches were kind of salivating over the talent.
100%. And I think you mentioned it a few minutes ago. The financial side of it. A lot of these schools will they'll help these kids get the finances figured out. They'll either get a full scholarship or at least 50 to 75% of it.
Well, because like you said too, there's even the grants, and then being dual citizen, you can get the in-state tuition for New York. And stuff,
there's a lot of support. There's a lot of funding. Like, I went to school for music production and business management, and my schooling was like $36,000. I had to go and I'm a great writer, so I had to write all my grants. I had to write apply for all the different scholarships and stuff, and post-secondary and grade, all of those different things. But the funding is out there. But it makes me think it really comes down to your parents. Your parents have to want you to succeed. Your parents have to be like, I'm okay with you leaving home. There are sometimes some moms out there, they'll be like, no, I don't want my son to leave, right? Because then maybe they're a single mom, and then their son's holding down the household, right? And it's like they don't want to be alone. So it's you gotta let your kids grow. You gotta let them go out there and fucking.
I think that was one of the situations.
Yeah.
And sadly, it happened, but.
And like you said, too, just fighting for yourself. If somebody tells you, oh, no, we can't get you this grander things, maybe there's another loophole, or you keep kind of looking into it or go to somebody else, they'll help you out.
Yeah, these schools will help. If they really want you, there, they'll make sure they get you there.
And there's tons of schools. Even me and my dad were talking. There was at one point, there was only like 30 Division II schools. I think now there's up to like 80 almost. And how many more D1 schools there are?
Well, and we're not just talking that too. Like you're talking high school prep schools.
Yeah, there's tons of those even now too, right?
Like there's so many of those, and that was a situation I was talking about, getting the kid to
prep school.
Go to prep school. And like we have Hill Academy in Everest here in Ontario, but you're still in Ontario. They're great programs, but it's a different world.
In the States, I think there's a couple like Westtown in Pennsylvania, a couple other now.
And then there's kids that are down and go down to Western Reserve in PA there, and Deerfield's always been a spot for a lot of our kids. So,
what kind of advice would you give to someone that, let's say that maybe they're good at lacrosse, they're good enough to get into college, they're not going to go pro, like they're not going to go, like they're not going to play for the NLL, PLL, but they want to stay in lacrosse enough to somehow get into management, somehow do something behind the scenes. What is a program that they can do, or what's something that they can do off the floor or on the floor to show that hey, I can add value once this is done. I understand I'm not going to go pro, but I have value to add. What can they do?
Well, don't think that they're not going to go pro first, but you never know. There's guys in the NLL that shouldn't be in the NLL that are in the NLL because they have to drive, right?
Or they stuck it out.
But they stuck it out, grinded it out, and like I will name one player. Like he helped me coach last year with the U13s, and I sat our kids down, and one of the kids asked why it was Blake McDonald, and one of the kids asked why he was helping coaching, because he didn't have a kid or a nephew or anybody with the team. And so I thought about it, and then a few practices later, I sat him down and I said, I want you guys to know why Blake's helping me. I said, this is a guy that just, what I've talked about before, just didn't take no for an answer. Like, we cut him from the arrows. He kept coming. This is 2014, and we told him to go junior B, Hamilton. He went and did that still, but he still kept showing up at our practices. He didn't take no for an answer. Anybody say anything? Like, hey, like, no? He was there. Like, even team bus, the guys would yell, "Rookies, clean the bus." First one with a garbage bag in his hand after the trip was done. He did what he had to do, and that kind of carried through. Like the very next year, I did this when COVID hit, and I went through and I did went through all the years of Arrows players and did their statistics and that, and Blake McDonald was top 5 in games played for Six Nations Arrows total season.
That's commitment.
Season playoffs and Minto Cups. He was top 5 in games played because he didn't take no for an answer.
And then, like you said, 2 years later, he goes off to college.
Yeah,
Essex and Davenport. And
yep, he did that. He didn't get drafted to the NLL. He walked into Philadelphia's
that free agent main camp,
not
right?
Main camp, but a free agent camp. Yeah. Got invited, made the team, got released, didn't cry about it, went and played in the ALL, and then got invited back to Albany, which is Oshawa now, and he's still there. And that's why I told our kids, I go, this is what I want for you guys. If somebody tells you no, just look at this guy that's helping spend his time, that he doesn't have to be here. He could have said no, but he didn't say no to me. And maybe that's because I maybe start fighting for him once he started showing up more. he didn't get out of the lineup. He's the type of player that you don't see much. You don't recognize him on the game sheet. But then at the end of the game, like, shit, Blake played. Like, yeah, if he had a quiet game, that's good, right? You don't notice anything. It means he probably played a really good game. So just something like that. But there's sports management too. Like, you asked about programs. Like, obviously there are schools that offer that too. Like, that's just a small part of it. Just kind of understanding what goes into the off-floor stuff. There's just depends on what they want to get into, right? If it's usually guys would just send in notes like, oh, I seen this guy, or I noticed this guy. You should watch for this. You should watch for this guy. Just stuff like that, right? I think just keeping your name out there and talking to anybody that's a part of the game, right, or at the higher levels, and eventually that's just somebody's gonna ask for something. That, oh, so and so told me about this, and then just more word of mouth, I guess, really.
So it's just about keeping your name in the conversation,
Yeah.
like even
being at the arena, knowing what's happening, just being knowledgeable, right?
Yeah, because I even think that, like, how can I add value? And I think about that, like, I think the NLL needs promotions. So I think about what roles need to be added to the NLL. Like, do they have promoters? Like, as in, like, people that they hire who have influence, who just create stuff for them. The same way that the NHL does, the same way that the NBA does. Or are they just using they have billboards, they have paper, they have digital, they use the regular ways to market. Or are they going to the influencers, people who can actually connect with people? Because that's what you need, is people who can connect with the cultures. And, like, you guys need to be starting to having multicultural, like, advertising, starting to get, like, the Asian community, the Filipino community, African, like, if we want to grow this game, we got to include everybody.
Mm-hmm. I don't take part in that side of the NLL. I don't worry about that stuff. But I think they should, yes. Like they have. They always try to, if there's a celebrity at the game or whatever, like last night, I think Toronto did it. They had, I don't know who the celebrity was, but they interviewed at halftime.
That girl or whatever.
Yeah.
Years ago, I remember, like, they brought in, like, Biz Nasty, like, Vancouver.
Yeah, like they did stuff like that, but I don't.
Who was the girl last night? Big comfy couch.
Yeah.
The big comfy couch. It was Kids Day, though.
It was something.
It was on brand.
It was something loony or something.
Yeah.
I know, like, not trying to poke fun at the PLL. I know, like, that Casey Rogers guy, like, he really was trying out for the NLL teams, but then every other day, the PLL. Now, that other player, he was a really good player, the Xavier guy from Navy that just got picked. Like, I guess he was on the team with Spalina and O'Neill and all them as kids. But then everybody that's had any inkling of football and lacrosse, the PLL signs them. I kind of want to be like, hey, I played high school football. You want to sign me?
Oh, there you go, man.
And then I know, but everybody's kind of like, they did it like 4 times now all of a sudden this offseason. So people in the comments are now being like, is this the first ever guy to play, or the next Chris Hogan? And, like, it's almost becoming gimmicky, right? Like, of the
PL's like, you are you athletic? Here's a lacrosse stick. Let's play.
Yeah, and like Pat Spencer, like, there's only so many of those guys, right? That
NBA player now, right?
Yeah,
I think I agree. There could be more. Like, obviously, there's how many podcasts now? Like, there's this one. Yeah. Jake Elliott, he has his Lax Classified. Brad Challoner, Tino Farah have theirs. There's a new one with McMichael and Nielsen in Edmonton there. But I think they should try to get some of those people on this podcast and talk about it, and actually get them into the podcast chair and talk to them about it, and then maybe generate more clicks that way too, right?
I know it's like the Tino guy, that was cool. We tagged him, right?
Yeah. Shout out to you, Tino.
I've seen, like, he started like a Vancouver, like, Warriors podcast with like 2 players now, like, just kind of probably just promoting and talking about the season and game recaps and stuff.
Yeah, and, like, I think individual teams do their own thing like that, and the Toronto Rock had their Rock Unplugged, I think it's called, and then
that was always cool.
Halifax, we did the I forget what it's called, but Tyson Geik did it a few years back with Charlie, and like it was a whole big production, right? And
I kind of remember that he would be kind of like standing behind.
Yeah, I remember him on the floor with the camera at practice, running behind guys and almost passing somewhere. Like, we need to get you pads, not a camera.
Yeah.
But I think it could be more of that. I just don't know what the appetite. I know what the appetite from spectators are, but I just don't know what the appetite financially is for it.
There was like rumors of some kind of like how Netflix has the receiver and the quarterback. There was like a rumor that like there's something being filmed for NL to like be like Netflix or something, which would be cool, and that would get eyes on it. Or even like if you got something on Netflix like that, random hey, I like these kind of shows, let me watch this. And then
most of the time with stuff like that, you're gonna have like 4 shows pop up at once. It's not just gonna be one. You're gonna throw 4 things at the wall and see which one sticks, and then you're gonna put your money behind that one.
So speaking of stuff like that, like when I was with the Arrows, I think it was 2019 maybe, we had or 2017 first, we had, I forget what they're called now, but they came up with this apparel, socks and stuff like that, and extreme something.
Yeah, the guys from like Toronto area.
Yeah, they're just young kids, and they're great. They asked if they can follow us around, not the full year, but a good chunk of the year. Like they put out little YouTube videos, I think they're maybe 10, 12 minutes long.
Did they interview you guys too? I think I feel like I remember seeing like Lou Stott sitting in the stands.
They did interviews with some of the players and the coaches and stuff, and like we gave them full access to whatever they wanted.
Vision or something.
Vision
like
Artworks.
That.
That's it. Vision, and they followed us around. They did a good, nice little number. They went to the Minto with us, and it was great. And that, I don't think that's really been done in junior up until that point. I could be wrong. But following that, I had another guy call. His last name was, or Gordon Gare was his name. He's from Toronto or Aurelia, I think. But he didn't play lacrosse, but his family played lacrosse. And he reached out and kind of the same deal. And he wanted to, so he came down to my house and I met with him, and he pitched his idea and what his whole big vision was for it, and it was almost like I think it's the 30 for 30s they have on TSN or ESPN,
Okay.
and we're gonna have crews. We're gonna follow the team around. You wake up, I'm gonna be there for the camera. Follow me on game day. Follow a coach on game day. Follow some select players throughout the week.
I wrote something like that for the Rebels,
and we're gonna do that for the Arrows, and we got so deep into, like, we did some pilot stuff. Like, he came down and he did some filming with me in offices. He did some filming with some ex-players and some of the executive at that point. And we got so deep into it that we're doing production meetings with people in Toronto that were talking about putting it on CBC or even Netflix. And that's how, like, it was, the pilot was just going to be for like cable or even if it was just on a digital platform like YouTube, right, to start, and then like the whole vision was to get it to a Netflix where it would be a yearly.
Well, I hate to give away all the sauce, but like, you know, in the time of like recording that, a lot of those clips, even if it doesn't get to Netflix, you just repurpose them. You sell them to non-for-profits, and you can make, you know, $7,000 for a solid 20-second clip.
Like we said too, even almost kind of like when you were saying about that, like how we were talking with the guy from Inside Lacrosse. He was filming. I remember talking to the guy in 2017, and that documentary still hasn't came out. But he's been like dropping clips of like the Gates talking about getting their first lacrosse stick. Like I said, almost he's repurposing. I don't know what happened to that one, but then repurposing. And then that Thompson documentary that took like almost 10 years to come out.
Yeah.
Like I remember that seeing that trailer, being like, this will be cool, and then 10 years later it finally like came out. Or it felt like 10 years if it wasn't.
Yeah, you can just literally film a bunch of stuff, put it on Instagram, and repurpose it, and then someone will be like, "Oh, like, where's the rest of that footage? Let me buy it off you." And then all of a sudden, someone else is making a movie, and they have a whole catalog of archive footage to use for their documentary or whatever they're trying to do.
Just like Fiddy?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah. There we go.
And even like how we're like Entourage, like the creator, he made a pilot show and it didn't get picked up, but even though that was 2 years ago, like he first like posted like the pilot trailer, and I think just like last month he posted again, like somebody needs to pick this show up, but just like you just keep dropping the trailers and trying to get the hype around it.
Yeah, you have to build up you have to test the grounds and see if, you know, the demographics are there that, you know, this will actually sell. Is there enough people who are going to buy into this?
It kind of bothered me that ours didn't go through, just because after that Orangeville came out with theirs, and that really pissed me off.
Oh yeah. And I wonder, is that actually going to come out on the thing, or did they say?
I don't know if I think they did their own screening, but I'm sure it'll come out on something.
Orangeville, yeah, like just last year, I'm pretty sure Rosie was talking about when he was on the show.
He did I don't know if it was a movie or just a short film or something.
They did a screening in Orangeville for it, but like I said, I don't know if when it's actually going to hit something, or maybe over time it will. Or
throw it on. I don't know. Just throw it online. Let people see it anyways.
Because even there were some like Owls or some like lacrosse documentary in the States, I guess, that hit Prime. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. I don't think it was available yet in the Canada.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone's going to do it, though. I know a lot of people out there trying to, well, yeah, we would, you know, people are out there trying to get a movie going there. Yeah. So, but let's get back into this. So, okay. What other types of consultant jobs are there in the NLL? Like, is there is there meetings? Is there like a whole bunch of meetings
I think
of people meeting up and consulting?
Well, yeah, that's higher up than me. They do league meetings and stuff like that. Like they'll have their governors meeting, GMs meeting, coaches meetings, stuff like that. I don't take part in that. That's above me.
So, tell me a day in your life. What's a day in the life of a consultant for Halifax Thunderbirds? Yeah.
Oh, if it's in season?
Yep.
Like I said before, I'm usually just watching game films, not just our games, but all the other games, and just kind of jotting my notes down. And I usually pass them on to our GM, Kurt Stiers, Scott Campbell. We talk quite a bit as well throughout the day, whether if we're on a call or just texting throughout the day. So it's pretty basic. It's not as exciting as it sounds. It's just you get to watch a lot of lacrosse, right?
It's not all Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not Moneyball.
Well, that's kind of where me and Kurt mesh. We kind of Kurt kind of changed my way of thinking a bit when it comes to not just lacrosse, but anything really. And I was talking to him about some stuff, and I forget what it was, but he just looked at me and he goes, "Why not?" It's like, "You're right. Why not?" I'm like, this guy, it's almost like Cody, really. Like, he's not going to take no for an answer. And like, he got in a canoe outside of his house and took it to Halifax.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, if he can do that, why can't I? Why not? Right? So when it comes to, it's not so much Moneyball, but we kind of get into a little bit of analytic stuff. And even one of the guys that was with New York, when I was with them at that point, he was really into analytics, and we started coming up with a few different formulas. I know there's guys out there now that do it, like Ty Moreau, and I think a few others. Cooper Perkins, I think his name is, in San Diego. But we came up with a formula that would track a player's value and production per shift. But this only worked at that time because that's when the NLL actually tracked time on floor, and they don't do that anymore. So without that time on floor, that whole equation is just out the window.
You just hire someone to do it for you then? Well,
that's where I started doing it a bit last year. So it wasn't actually precise. It was because, the camera's not on the bench, so you can't see when they're coming on and coming off. So you can only kind of guesstimate a bit. So you're usually off by maybe 2-3 seconds per shift, but I only tracked the stuff that I was doing by when you're in the set, like when all 5 guys are up front, ready to go into their motions, not when guys are still changing and we're waiting for a guy to get back, like when all 5 guys were there. So that's when I would start tracking that, so that I can put that into the formula that we had put together, and just see what type of value each player had per shift, and if it was a negative or positive, and just kind of stack it up where, okay, so we had a righty that would double shift, go off, and then come back on the very next shift. So was his next second shift, was it a positive or a negative value? And just kind of see what type of tendencies, like I always said, like what's that tendency there? Because we always talked about heartbeats. We got to save these guys' heartbeats, right? They got to have enough heartbeats for the fourth quarter, so we can't overplay them in first, second, or third. We need them to be fresh as they can be come the last 5-10 minutes of a game, especially in a tight game, right?
This is like when I'm at home playing 2K and I'm just like, I can't use Allen Iverson right now. I need him for the fourth quarter. I need him fresh.
But I've always liked stuff like that. Like, it sounds kind of geeky, but like playing NHL 95, 96, 90, like GM mode, like I love that crap. Mm-hmm. Like I loved it. And even today, like last night, I was playing my boys on PlayStation. I haven't played in a long time. And I was like, I'm gonna school you guys on some stuff. And 7-0 after the first period. But it's just something that I've always liked, anyways. And even like I would always read books about stuff like that, whether it was baseball, football, basketball, hockey. Like I was kind of a nerd that way.
I think another step further, going into like finding out the equation of how someone effective is on the floor is you could say, okay, well, here's how effective they are on the floor. Here's their past 10 games. Let's find some frequencies that they're off. Like why were these 3 games off? Like what was it about these 3 games?
Well, that's what I mean. Like we're try to stack all that stuff together and see shift to shift, and then you compound it more to 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Now you're on to the next game, and just kind of seeing, and then you got to factor in travel. What was practice like? All these different scenarios.
Did he get enough sleep?
That's what we talk about. Even going back to like the draft, like even free agencies. Like I don't know if all teams do it, but it's something that crosses my mind. Like, are they married? Do they have kids? What do they do? What do they do for work? Like
that was one of my questions.
Like if you're in construction all day, or if you're in just sitting in a backhoe all day, like what are you doing all day? Like if you're like, what type of job do you have? Like it's not the end all be all, but it can be a factor at times, right? Especially when play's not so well. Like, well, he's sitting in a backhoe all day. What's he? You know what I mean?
And like you said, that's something for lacrosse where you got to look at it. Where the NFL and NBA, those guys are like, this is your full time gigs, but then not lacrosse. So it's
even thinking like. It makes me think of, okay, let's say if you have a player and like they have something going on at home, or their kids or their wives, they have their family issues. Like how many times do we say, oh look at this player, he's injured. Oh, I didn't know he was injured, but it's really just like family stuff or something like that, because you don't want to say why the player's not playing or why he got sat or something. Like you don't want to play players when they're going through things at home.
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to. If I was, I would be like, hey man, you're going through something right now. Just chill out tonight.
I think. I actually brought this up to our kids last year, like a U13 at that age. Like, if you guys have family stuff going on, it's okay if you're not here. Like, I would rather you be at the arena in a good mind and ready to play, instead of coming here like, oh man, when I leave this arena tonight, I'm going to be in trouble, or whatever the case, or I got this going on or whatever, right? I'd just rather use kids be at the arena when they're of good mind and ready to play, as opposed to them being half here and half at home with whatever's going on, right? But same thing, like there's guys you can talk to about stuff like that, especially in higher levels, that they might get it, but there's also guys that are just like, if I don't play, it's going to bother me more, right? I need to play.
Yeah, like Lax's life.
Yeah.
Like literally, like, oh, what do you mean I can't play? Like it's gonna ruin their whole day and their week.
I remember something Jason Johnson said to me before. I always played for Jason. I think all of us did growing up, playing for Jason, and he's one of the people that I always go to with stuff first. But he said to us as a team, I think we would have been Bantam that day, Bantam, so U15, and he just said, no matter what's going on in your life, the arena's your safe place. You can come to the arena, all your worries are gone. You're only here just for one thing, and that's just to have fun with your friends. And he goes, no matter what's going on in your life, you can put that helmet on and that stuff's gone. You can put that helmet on and you can be anybody you want to be. All those worries or fears or whatever, they're gone. Put the helmet on, just like Iron Man, right? You're somebody totally different. You have the ability to change that.
Yeah, I can imagine how taking that ability away from someone could really, like, especially like, some of these kids, don't have the best home life. So, they're trying to escape that home life by coming to play lacrosse. So, to take off that mask, that shield for them, or on them, could really affect them.
Yeah, and you even said to some of the kids last year, like, I feel like I talk to them like they're adults sometimes, but I know that they understand what I'm saying more than what I realize. I said one thing to one of the kids at practice last year, and he didn't have a great practice. I think he knew it, and I just stopped and I go, "What's bothering you?" I go, "Is everything all right at home? Are you in trouble? Whatever? School's going good?" He goes, "Yeah, everything's good. Well, why aren't you practicing good then? Like, if everything's good, why aren't you giving everything you can when you're here?" Like if you just come here and screw around or have a bad practice, you're going to take that home with you. Like you're going to take that home with you, then maybe your brother sees it, and then he starts slacking because, oh, my brother did it. Like, and I try to tell these kids, like, everybody's watching you. Like, you're always being watched, whether it's by your parent, your coach, your teammate, your brother, your sister, right? So you need to, if you're an older brother, set a good example for them and be that example for them. Even if you're got an older brother, try to be where he is. Push to be where he is, right? There's always want more when you're at the arena and away from the arena.
Yeah, that's why it's very important for the arena to continue to be a safe space.
Yep.
Like, like there are some arenas where you can drink at, and, that's all fine for, older ages. Like, you're old enough to drink, go ahead and do whatever. But, like, sometimes, like, I think on Six Nations specifically, and, I imagine other First Nations, like, yeah, you kind of need, like, the arena to be a little bit sacred because it's kind of like the one place that some of us can go to where it's like you can find community because you might not have that at home.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's one thing that really bothers me about minor sports, not just lacrosse, but hockey, soccer, whatever it is. 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, parking lot.
Legends.
Like what problems do you have in your life that you need to not just come to your child's sporting event Saturday morning?
Amped up to
it's
cheer,
not a Bills game.
And then you see them later still drinking and their kids getting their vehicle with them to go home. Like, what's going like honestly, there needs to be police sitting at the end of these driveways. Like, it's retarded.
Sometimes you can just sit there and you, like, I don't know. I try to laugh because I don't want to get too immersed in it and start feeling angry. So you kind of have to laugh it off. But sometimes if you see something like a whole bunch of people tailgating and it's like 3 o'clock and you're acting up already, it's kind of
But you watch those. Those are going to be the same parents that, like you said, at 3 o'clock, that's going to be inside that arena, yelling at their kids. All the kids are getting going, and again, it's not the example that needs to be set, right? And that's always the case. Like I'm not one to tell anybody how to live their life. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, but to each their own. But there's a time and place for it, and when you're with your kid at a sporting event, that's not the place or the time for it.
Like I said, because I think at the minor field lacrosse, like the parents are literally walking around with their team koozies, like with the beer in it. Like they're not even even hiding it. Some of them of putting it in a Yeti or anything. They're like, oh yeah, here's my minor kids team. we're repping, and it's like you're just walking around like an open container at this thing.
And you see it on social media. Like you always see it. It's usually like a parent having the camera on the guy, and the guy standing there with his drink, and he's like, "What are you filming me for?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm not bothering anyone." But it's like you're not bothering anyone now, but as soon as this camera comes down, you're going to be yelling, you're going to be aggressive, you're going to be terrorizing everybody.
You see it at all levels of minor sports, whether it's U9, like even when our boys were paperweight, I think I had my first experience with it in Caledonia. They were playing in the Six Nations tournament, and 9 o'clock in the morning, right behind me. And I just look back and I'm like, who's drinking pop? And thinking nothing of it. And I'm like, that's not Pepsi. That's a Bud Light. Like, what are we doing here?
Still going from the night before, probably those parents.
I don't know. It was really, really sad.
Well, there's one thing when they go back to the hotels and party hard, but doing it at the arena is even worse.
Like I said, there's a time and place, but even then, were your kids at that point?
No, 100%. Yeah, that's when those at Ole provincials where those kids are running amok and bothering the whole hotel because the parents are all outside partying.
I just think, and I know it's coming up, little NHL. You got all the parents. They go down to the bar that's local, or maybe even the one that's at the hotel, and I don't know.
Know your boundaries. Know your limits.
I don't want to really point fingers or anything like that. It's just to each is their own, but just remember, the kids are watching type of thing.
Oh yeah,
that's
100%. All. And even when just parents get beaking off at the refs and stuff like that, I'll stick up for the refs on this one. These guys take a beating when they don't really need to. Without refs, we don't have a game, right? You're not going to go ref a game, are you? If you're sitting in the stands.
I'm not doing anything, man. I'm not going to ref no game. Yeah.
Right? And like you said, sometimes
they just lay off the refs, even as coaches. I actually had a good compliment. We had a pretty tame bench last year. We We weren't on the refs as much, if at all. We'd always just, sir, can we talk about something? And you kind of get more respect that way and more calls that way. And then, but the parent, I don't think all parents realize that they're going to affect the game too, because you're going to get a call. We're going to get called for something because you're yelling at a ref, because now you're getting either the ref amped up or you're getting your own child amped up, and they're going to go do something because they think they can because you're doing something.
Like I said, some people even just holler at everything, or even like, and it's like your kid just tripped on his own, nobody touched him, right? Like
it's the worst. I remember 2 years ago, like, Cody was coaching, and he's like, we were on the bench, and one of the parents was yelling something. He's like, stop saying that. He's making the right play. He's doing the right thing. You're telling him to not do the right thing. So we had a parent meeting, like practice after, like just don't yell at the kids. Just cheer for them when they do, when we score, and just let us coach.
That's just kind of funny, because you got to be like, yeah, don't listen to your parents when they're out there screaming, because they're telling you to do the wrong thing.
Well, even if there's times where they tell them to do the right stuff, but it's just not the right time to do it. But so I said, like,
yeah, your kid can shoot it, but that passes will be better pass.
Yeah,
right?
There's always a better shot that can be had, or I don't know. It's just, you're a parent. Just as soon as they get in the arena, coaches will take over.
I think even it happens in junior, because like, so I'll be playing music, and it'll be like, Rebels, Arrows, whatever, they're down there. I can hear them talk. I can hear the way they talk to the refs. I can hear, everything that's being said. And then like, they'll get penalties because they don't shut up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, as someone who's sitting up there and he can hear everything, I'm just kind of like, all these penalties could be avoided. And then like all the fans out there thinking that the refs are doing all these things personally. And it's like, I can hear everything they're saying. They're calling these refs down to the lowest, calling them losers right to their face. Some of the refs are kind of like, I'll give you another chance, and they're being nice.
Yep. We have very passionate fans.
Yeah, like very aggressive.
That's the only way it's passionate. But no, there's just really no need for it, right? Like, you're paying, even as a fan, you're paying to go to a junior game. I don't know what it is, $10 now to go to a Rebels or Arrows game. $12. Like, why yell at a ref? Like, why let that ruin your night? Like, just watch the game, have fun, enjoy it.
Like you said, sometimes if you watch a game at home, that was a bad call or something like that, or almost sometimes you'll see it, but like at games, I don't get how people just scream and yell the whole game.
I don't know how some of these parents have voices after the game. Like,
I think I'm still waiting for a ref to be ballsy and kind of like, how like a ref can be like, hey, you need to leave the arena, you're too much. Has a ref ever kicked an elder out for being too aggressive? Because like that would be hard to do. You got to, like, who's going to do that?
Parents for sure. Like I've seen.
Not that an elder. I don't think it's happened. Parents, like Chris said, parents for sure. But I've been at arenas where it's the whole arena's been cleared out, other than players and coaches.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they were allowed to have one parent rep from each team, and that's it. But I don't think an elder's really been kicked out.
Yeah, there's some grandmas out there.
Oh, I know.
They're yelling.
They know how to hide too. They know how to hide themselves. Just point to the next person.
There was like a thing last year. I think it was the dad said, I had money on your dad getting kicked out, but then your mom went ahead and got kicked out. He's like, tell your mom, shut up next game. I'm going to lose another $10 or something like that.
So let's get into, let's go back to NLL a little bit. So being with part of the management of New York, did you know about all of the switch going over to Ottawa and all that stuff?
No, I was out by then.
Oh, you're out by then?
But I kind of guessed it by attendance the first year. Like, we were playing out of Nassau, and 3,000 people. I don't know how many was paid or comped, but attendance wasn't good, and obviously the team was fresh and we weren't strong, being an expansion team. So, like, we pitched the five-year plan. Ownership seemed to be on board with what was going to be happening, and for whatever reason they chose not to do it, so they went a different direction, and that's fine.
No, I noticed that Halifax, you guys don't have no problems with fans showing up. You guys are selling out.
Yeah, I went with Kurt. It was Kurt, myself, and another fella, Stu Brown, who was with the organization at that time. We went to Halifax to meet like the arena people. I think the mayor at that time, I think his name was Mike Savage at that time. and a few other people out there. And we actually went out there on a Tuesday, and the Halifax Mooseheads played at that time. And I think it was a January, February, like it was typical Northeast winter time, and it was like a blizzard, snow, ice, like everything. And Tuesday night, the Mooseheads game, and it was packed. And I had a friend who lived out in Halifax at that time, and I met up with him, and I go, why is it so packed here on a Tuesday? He goes, these people just love their sports. Like it's a sports town, nobody knows about it. And I think the last time they had anything lacrosse related before us was, I think it was a 2007 World Games, I think it was, and they did really well then. But just to go further, like after the game, we went outside, and there's just this big road of bars outside the arena on a Tuesday night, and it was packed. The bars were packed. And I looked at Kurt the next day, and I go, this is the place. I think this is going to be a good spot. And we went out a few months later when we did the official announcement, and we met with all the media and stuff, and it was, even walking around downtown, like it was such a good vibe. Everybody kind of already knowing who you were, even though nobody's played yet. And I go, like, where we were before, it was like, leave the arena and it's just dark and kind of scary. You go to Halifax and it's all lit up. It's nightlife. It's friendly people. Like it was such a 180 to what it was used to, and it took a little bit. Like I think the group out there, like John Catalano and Mackey's out there a lot, and the players that are there, and anybody else that's out there, they did a great job with that team, especially out there promoting it and making sure that the butts are in the seats. And I think last year was the first year we did a full sellout, and it's been pretty consistent since. So it's I think Halifax is the new Bandit land.
Definitely, it's like they're a lacrosse hungry market, right? Like, and even talking to Halifax people, they follow all the different platforms and podcasts, and they like the Chiefs, and they follow the players outside of Halifax, even of their senior A and PLL teams.
There's even quite a few fans from Halifax at the World Games in Utica, they saw that I had a Halifax hat on or something like that. They're like, you're at Halifax? Or even if they're wearing Halifax stuff, I'd stop and talk to them.
Yeah.
Like, we drove all the way down here, like 14 hours, and it's like, just to watch the World Games, you could watch it on TV.
And they and then they did that like last year. Like a couple people were like coming down to watch the Chiefs games and stuff.
And even the kids like to come down for the junior NLL, or even the 1 year Mackey brought the kids down for the Border Wars in Oakville. And I'll say this, that coaching those weekends were probably some of my favorite times in lacrosse. Like, we never had the best teams or the strongest teams, but we probably had the funnest team. And the kids were receptive to everything. They worked hard. Even the one game we played the Rock Stars, like Toronto Rock's team, and it got pretty chippy. And it was like, looked at Mackie, I'm like, you need to be recording this. This is content.
Plus, too, it's like not even like just Halifax; it's the Maritime area.
Yeah,
there was like the guys they was from New Brunswick, and he was down for junior and all. They came in the store, and then they stayed for the Chiefs game, and then the kids were still wearing all their brand new different Six Nation team gear and playing lacrosse in the parking lot. And the guy, they were from a reserve in New Brunswick, and the guy, he loved the fact that somebody in the stands was like, hey, I know you're not from here, but you look like you belong here, because he was a native guy from New Brunswick, and he like loved that.
That's a good compliment.
Yeah, he loved somebody said that to him. He was like, that was so cool. I just felt so at home. And it was during the Peterborough Chiefs series, right? So it was a packed house, and yeah, that guy loved it. He's like, my older son just like randomly played lacrosse, and he loves it and goes to tournaments, and now all my little kids play, and this is like, we drove all the way down here to play junior NLL for Halifax. And
yeah, they like last year's draft, we were the only team that did it. But like our group out in Halifax, they put together a draft party. We invited fans. I think it was season ticket holders, and we just did it at one of the hotels in one of the big meeting rooms, and the fans got to sit at their own tables and watch us as we're going through the draft, and they got to see that process unfold. And
see, that could have been content there. What you could have.
I think they did put stuff out.
Yeah.
But
You could, yeah, like you could have like interviewed all the fans or had a roundtable discussion and got like.
I remember there was media stuff because even at the time, like technically Hazen was the Rochester coach, and I remember he was even kind of at that stuff, right? And then but then they.
No, this was at the draft.
Oh, the draft.
You're talking about when we went there.
The first time around.
The unveiling of the team, yeah, but yeah, we did the draft party, and it was lined up. People, I think it sold out, and I don't know if sold out was the right word. I don't think they paid. Or I don't think the people paid to go, but it filled up real quick, and they loved it. Like it was.
Do you see Halifax being like, if we say Ontario's predominantly the leagues, Ontario, our coaches and everything, Ontario, BC, Alberta, Halifax being kind of that fourth province?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like
and rising. Right?
I thought about that even before the Thunderbirds went there. Like. Again, sorry if I'm wrong, but I think it was Lindsay Sanderson and his son Brandon Sanderson. They went to Nova Scotia a few years just to coach lacrosse, and then you start seeing kids trickle into Nova Scotia, kids trickling into Orangeville, like Leo McGrath, and I forget the other guy's name, but there's a few of them.
And no, and you're right, and that makes sense of that's why those kids were going to Orangeville more, because I wasn't even thinking of like how that Sanderson, he used to play for the Senior B privateers at those President's Cups and stuff.
So they went over there, they coached some kids up and started a small pipeline, but you know, like even watching some of the younger kids now, like with the junior NLL or even at the national box championships, the kids in Nova Scotia, like there's some pretty talented kids, and like me and Cody were talking about one of the kids. I won't say his name, but like he can come here and play. Like he's that good already. Like they got some talent there.
And like I said, hockey-wise, right? Marchand and Crosby and McKinnon. So like that's like they have a lot of high-end hockey talent, so might as well like transition to the floor of lacrosse.
I think that's the only thing that might hold them back is floor availability, especially in the wintertime. I don't know if they really have. They might just have the one arena that we might use as practice arena sometimes, but there's not that availability like we have here in Ontario. Like we can come here to the ILA or the track in Oakville or even Brampton now, right? Like there's 3 or 4, maybe 5 playing fields that we can use year round, but there they just have to kind of gut it out and wait till the winter or the summertime. But I know some people were talking about trying to get their own track going there, like they have in Oakville or even here at the ILA. So see if it happens. Hopefully they can do that. If they do, I think that'll be a big boom for them there.
Some lady I met too from Tynanega, she was talking about they're trying to get like a whole facility there. Infancy stages of them talking about it, but it's good to see like the growth of all these other places, kind of seeing, hey, this is what these guys do over here. Let's try to mimic that and make our own.
I think it'd be good to have. See, again, it's just the finances of it all, right? Like it'd be good to have it in different areas. Like if there's one in Kingston, that'd be a Zone 5 year-round rink. We got one here in Six Nations, Zone 9. You got Oakville that could do zone whatever zone they are. Again, Zone 10. They can cover a couple different zones. Mm-hmm. Get one out Owen Sound Way or even Windsor or London Way. Like, just spread them out so there's actually centers available year-round for these kids to play. Because there are kids that are just lacrosse and that's it, right? Then you have kids that are driving. There are kids that drive from London or Huntsville to go play in Oakville every Sunday at the Rock Elite League, right? Like that's the only place they get to play. So,
they said the parents are kind of forced to make that commitment of this long drive because that's all there is. Yeah,
like there's a kid from Sudbury that did the same thing, right? Like it's the only place I can play in the winter, so you got to make that commitment.
And like you said, there is like those random arenas, but you think they would do a better job of like even kind of promoting like this guy? He was buying lacrosse gloves to do like bike polo instead of horses at like I think that was kind of might have been like a London area way or St. Thomas, and like a random sport. Who knew they did it? But he's like, oh yeah, the arena, it's too expensive to put ice in, so they rent it out for some ball hockey, and this guy playing that sport, and it's like, that you think some lacrosse, even if it's cold or not, would try to get in there and at least practice and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that might hold back lacrosse is just there's not enough facilities, whether it's here even BC, Alberta in the winter, or Saskatchewan, Winnipeg even, or Manitoba.
And that was the big thing probably the States is they just don't have all those hockey arenas. And then now everything's kind of, but they're making these nicer indoor soccer complexes even nicer with the boards.
I think you're going to see a big boom, especially down there in the States with especially box players. And you hear a lot of college coaches now talking about their kids needing to play box, and they're actually doing box specific practices now for their field teams, where because they see all the kids come down and like before field lacrosse, open is me to 10 feet away pass. Like box lacrosse, open is me to you away. Like we can stand beside each other, but if my stick's here, I'm still open, right? The Americans didn't really understand that. So now coaches are picking up, like, yeah, we can really force the ball inside on these guys now.
Because even like the equipment kind of side of it, you just had Warrior, right? They always made a lot of box stuff, and then way back Reebok, and then Gate and Under Armour, but they kind of had the stranglehold of the box market. But now that it's becoming so much big in the States, that's so many more buyers, where now Maverick's making kidneys and biceps and helmets, and Nike's making shafts and has other things in the works, and some other companies too, or STX, and all those companies now are trying to get into box and making box specific pads and shafts, and like you kind of can see like, oh, the floodgates are opening. We have more potential customers here now that box is growing.
There's so many players now that do the box, whether it's private or club, and like you see all these U.S. box tournaments popping up more and more, and they're like all over, whether they're just for the kids or
they seem much bigger.
Yeah,
like they seem in giant arenas.
Yeah, well, I think they're just big buildings that they just convert.
Oh, okay.
And just put turf in and put some boards up, but that's all you need, really, right? Like until you're actually established as a lacrosse center, like just get a building, throw some turf down, some boards, and go at it. Like there's some of these teams in the NLL, they practice on a soccer turf with just glass boards, and that's it. That's all you need, right?
Yeah, because you see even like Ohio, like that, like how big that Utica really exploded with all their stuff with box lacrosse, and then like that Resolute in Ohio, and then Anthony Kelly having some, them growing, and then even how like Sean Evans and a lot of these different Canadian guys are getting, hey, let's go down here and coach full time, and they're doing kind of teaching box, but then also kind of coaching field at the same time at high schools and stuff.
Yeah. Anthony Kelly's one of my favorites, man. He's a good guy. He's a good
A-Train, I believe, right? Nickname?
Pardon?
A-Train, I think.
Yeah, A-Train. Yeah, he just took on the Redwoods, I think, last year in the PLL. He's actually as good as a field guy as he is. I think he's more trained for box. Now retired, but just coaching wise, like he helped us with the U.S. stuff, and like just some of the stuff that he's talking about, like this guy should be coaching NLL.
And I remember at the time he was a big Major League Lacrosse face-off guy, and then he was like, I don't know how much, I know he did NLL. I want to say I watched him like fight when he was like a New York Titans guy, and he fought Jack Reed was Nighthawks. So, like he did play a bit, and then Kentucky Stick Horses was like one of those random the PBLA before there was a PBLA. They were just like a semi-pro team, and he was on that. Yeah, and it was in Kentucky, like Louisville or something, and.
Yeah, I remember that league.
Yeah. I was like,
I remember...
they were never streamed, those games. It would have been cool to watch. Just a lot of pictures on Facebook at the time and stuff.
I remember a guy, I forget how I met him. I played with him, against him, but Travis Bland. He played for the Rivermen here.
Yeah.
He played in that league, and he was telling me about it. He goes, such a crazy thing.
Yeah. And I think I remember talking to him too about it too that one time, like when he was with the Rivermen, because he's like, he's actually from Ontario and came from this like high box background, and now there was the Wild West of guys not really knowing what they're doing, or it was kind of even too when U.S. box was in its infancy.
But like I said, like they're growing their game, evolving their game, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and even like the college box series now too, right? There's so many college box leagues now. And they're trying to add more, whether it's in Florida or North Carolina or wherever.
And that's good too. Instead of those guys having to commit to come here, then they kind of at least, hey, let's get some good coaches, and you can just do it right.
It'd be. I don't think it would ever happen, but one of the cool things would be if they actually just did box lacrosse college.
Yeah, and a lot of people like.
I think that would take off more than field.
I could see it, and like you forget, like those big colleges have hockey rinks,
and not just that. Like you would save money on scholarships because you're only half that roster.
Yeah, 18 or 25 guys instead of 50.
Yeah,
right?
And it's the same as that's why the Sixes evolved, right? Like that's how that came about, because it's easier to take 12 runners to the Olympics than it is 25 to 50, right?
Those schools are 50 guys.
Yeah.
More than half that team just stays on the bench the whole game, right?
Yeah.
It's just pretty much background noise, and then like you'd see like they have 5 field goalies, only one guy plays. Like
even face-off guys.
Yeah.
It's just one face-off guy.
Yeah, and they have 6 of them on the team.
Like that'd be one of the things I'd say to kids around here too. Like it's D1, yeah, it's nice, but you might get more playing time at D. Like you need to play.
No, definitely.
There's nothing wrong with a D2. There's nothing wrong with a D3 school.
All those goalies,
if you find the right fit.
All those guys were the main guys at those schools and stuff. So it's like they all can't be it at those top levels, right? Like they were in high school.
Unless that college is coming to your house, knocking on your door physically, you're probably not going to play as much as you think you're going to play. Like they're only kicking down the doors for the top 50 recruits. And if you're a 4 star, you'll probably play junior year.
I watched
senior.
Watched the one video, and it was cool. The one YouTuber guy was having of kind of following the guys now that it's September 1st with the calls, and that kid's whole dreams. Roy Colsey's kid, it was the other, like, because he was the more higher recruit.
Yeah.
And Gary Gate called Roy Colsey's kid, where the assistant coach of Syracuse called the other kid. Mm-hmm. But that other kid ends up being the one to commit to Syracuse. That was his dream school. He's from the area. He's got season tickets. But Binghamton and some smaller D1 schools are recruiting him. Maybe that kid, he's technically still in high school now, so maybe he does play and get a lot of playing time in Syracuse. But hey, if those head coaches of those smaller D1 schools are calling you and you're just getting the assistant from Syracuse, yeah, that's your dream school, but maybe you should go and you'll get a bigger scholarship and more playing time at those D1 schools.
At the end of the day, like, you guys got to find the right fit.
Where you're happy, right?
You got to find the right fit for what's good for you academically, whether that's school size, classes, whatever it is, and then you got to mix in how much do you think you're going to get training, how much do you think you're going to get actual playing time, because you're there for school, but you're also there to actually play at some point too, right? And
that's what I liked about the All Canada games thing when they used to have that. Like, I think that Brody Merrill did, because the daddy, I think he was from the Ottawa Capitals team and stuff at the time. The dad was talking to me, and he's like, what do you think? He's like, just wanted my kid to get recruited by somewhere. And I was like, look, there's some small NAIA school here from Kentucky, and there's Desco here for Syracuse. I was like, there's a good wide variety of schools here. There's somewhere someone's going to want your kid.
There was I just saw something last night. I forget who the player was, but I think it's a kid from Barrie, but he just committed from, I think it's a D2 or D3 school, and switched over to an NAIA in Arizona. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, it's still an education.
I saw, like, and then that's where, because I couldn't remember if that school that Gash had went to at first was like a D2 or 3, but it was NAIA, and then he goes to Albany.
Yeah.
And then even just I know you used to go kind of watch when you were just doing arrows, like you'd go and watch the qualifiers and stuff like that, kind of seeing guys for the junior A draft, and you would see High Point there in Virginia. Like, that was always pretty cool. Yeah,
that's even last year at the qualifiers, Merrick Thompson was there. He was with Albany. You see some other guys that I knew from colleges, and I still keep in touch with a lot of them too. Like from the 3D stuff, and they all ask if there's any studs up here or in the area, and obviously be straight with them, because you don't
let them know Vale's available. He's available.
Then, but no, definitely, like you said, and you don't want to send them, hey, maybe you know the background of a kid from like here, or a kid kind of close. Maybe he is good, but look, he doesn't have the grades, or he's not on the cusp of getting into your school. But
I'll only talk good. I'll only say something about a kid that I'll trust, and that's got to be family too.
Because, like I said,
that's my name on it.
No, definitely. Like you said, like they can go there and then they'll never call you again, because they're like, oh, the kid just said he's an asshole and he failed out right away, or he stole something. But no, it's definitely like you said, some good stuff around schools and things.
But yeah, again, just get out there and find something that's right for you.
Yeah, I want to get back into the beginning of Halifax and like when you guys were getting the arena. How does that work? Like, you get to Halifax, you look at the arena, you say this is the one we want. You like the area, you like all that, and like, are you allowed to alter? Are you allowed to make changes to be like, hey, we want this certain color around here because we're Halifax. This is our colors.
I don't think so.
No?
I think it depends on a few factors. Like it's different because Halifax is a more privately owned team, and we're just tenants in the arena, I believe. And you go to a team like Calgary or Vancouver, they own that arena, right? So you can do whatever you want, really. But I think it just comes down to situation and what that is. But
like you said, Pugul's on that arena and everything.
But you can talk. You can say, can we put something up or whatever, and arenas will you generally work with you with what you want to do, but I think it's just got to be a mutual thing.
So what would you say was the biggest seller about Halifax? Was it the arena, how many people you could fit in there? Was it the fact that there was bars outside there and it had like that community, it was lit up, or like what was the deciding factor that was like, this is the one?
I think atmosphere, that's a big thing, especially when you're trying to promote something. Like you always see teams trying to promote like college night or country night or something that's going to appease to just a regular guy. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's come here for even Vancouver. Like you can get your college night for 4 beers and 2 hot dogs for $20 or whatever, and that's your ticket. Or even Florida Panthers, like when they weren't selling as well, like you can go to a game for $15 and that's your parking, your ticket, and 2 beers and a hot dog, right? Like you can't get that anywhere else. You can't even get that at a grocery store. But you can go to an NHL game for that. But I think just the right atmosphere. I think that's a big thing. Like I talked about before we got on, like the Rock game. Like it on TV, it seemed kind of dead, but you guys were there, so you said it was a little bit better. But also, you said kids' night, so it's probably quieter. But I think it's atmosphere is the biggest seller. And especially if you got a good product you can put on the floor, like Halifax. I think the first game, it was actually against us mm-hmm. with New York. When I was with New York, like our Halifax first game was when we went there to play, and like they were up 8-0 in the first period. They Jake Withers picked up the ball, first shift, went down and scored, and I think that set the tone for everything. Like even before that, like they went there with their inter squad game, and I'm pretty sure it was like 5,000-6,000 people showed up for just an inter squad game.
That's insane.
So it's just finding the right spot that's craving something, like craving a sport, or whether it's just, I guess, any sport really, because they only had the Mooseheads, and then the same year they just got the soccer team, I think it was. So they're just craving professional sports. And
the CFL, like they never moved there. They were supposed to move there like years ago too, even the CFL.
Yeah, they had talked about that, and just never ever materialized for whatever reason. So I think that's a big thing, and just finding right location, and I guess even price point. Like you don't want to be like situated here, then have a team in 2,000 miles away where you're having the expense part of it, right? But
because even like probably watching on TVs, you see those gap seats. Like there was kind of like next to us there was a big gap, and then across there was definitely gaps where that's what you pick up on TV. Where
in Toronto,
yeah. Like that's where it's like seems like probably we're there. Oh, like it seems like it's all right, but then there is like if you're watching TV, you're like, oh, there's tons of gap seats. Considering the top isn't like
but
they have that happens, I guess.
Those could be sold seats. They just didn't show up for whatever reason, right? Like you watch a Leafs game on TV and everybody's sitting underneath their seats. They're eating their dinner, right?
Major League Lacrosse back in the day, like Hofstra, they would only make you sit on the one side, and then that side would be locked off because the camera views were coming from this way.
Well, it's the same with wrestling. That's what they do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The hard cam side, make sure that's full first before you start filling out the rest of it, right? And that's what Toronto's doing with the TD Center there, is just filling that bottom bowl first, make sure it's loud, and then once the demand gets up higher, then we'll open up the top.
Usually when Halifax would come to town, that's when it would be. They would always kind of open it.
So like now that so the reason I bring that up is because like you see that some teams are selling out, some teams are having good audiences and attendance. Like since you've seen kind of like Halifax start from the point where you see in the arena empty and then you see it fill up, what advice would you give to like Edmonton's trying to get a team, or they're trying to bring a team to Edmonton? So like, do you think that's a good spot? Do you think, and then what do you think? What team should go there, or what should happen with that scenario?
I won't say that. But Edmonton did have a team before, and the last year they were there. They won.
Then they moved.
Before they moved to Saskatoon, and that arena was full, and that was probably one of the best lacrosse games ever. But they filled that arena before. They can do it again. And just seeing Alberta lacrosse back on the upswing of things, and more players playing there. I think they'll do fine. Again, it's just promoting whatever way they can, and I'm not sure how much promotion went into the game for the unboxed game, but
I thought it was tough too because it was a Friday night, and a lot of people were like, "You think it would have been more maybe Saturday too?"
Yeah, maybe a weekend thing.
Yeah, make it more of an event.
But again, that just comes down to arena availability too, because I don't know if the Oilers had, because Oilers played the night before. And then they might have been back in there, or a concert might have been in there for Saturday night, right?
I think they even had like some of those Swarm guys flew in, they said earlier in the week to kind of promote, and then they went to that Oilers game and everything. So it would be cool if but I guess it's tough too. Where was the Oilers? Could they have gotten Connor McDavid to be the celebrity guy or whatever?
Yeah,
right?
I remember when a few years back, Jaromir Jagr played for Calgary Flames, and they had him on the Roughnecks had him on the floor with a couple players, and he was shooting around, and a couple other of the Flames were on the floor with lacrosse sticks, and they had like, it'd be cool to just see more stuff like that. Like even like the Sabres could be more
Montour.
crossover there.
Like if they've only ever did it the one time with Montour, that was it, right?
Yeah.
And you think too, like Owen Power. He played Mississauga Minor and Team Ontario. Like they could easily throw a lacrosse stick in his hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of players in the NHL that have played lacrosse, whether it's just 1 year or multiple years. And you see basketball or even lacrosse, like we're picking up on Pat Spencer in the NBA, right? Like, oh, he's a lacrosse player. Like, no, he's an NBA player now.
Yes, That's
just let him be. Like, like what? So maybe why aren't the lacrosse guys just piggybacking off of the NHL?
Because and then even like his brother Cam's even having like, but his brother Cam, he. As much as he was good at lacrosse, I guess he went all basketball, but kind of looking him up and stuff and watching some of his highlights, he was a really good like top attackman at Boys Latin, but he was like, hey, I'm going to go to Loyola and play basketball. And where like they were even kind of piggybacking off him too of being the lacrosse guy, where it's like, he never played in college though. He just played. But yeah, it's tough piggybacking off other sports, right? Yeah. Like we kind of got to make our own mark. We want them to be like, hey, did you know Pat Spencer was a lacrosse player? And now he's like the NBA doesn't piggyback off it as much as we do.
The NBA don't even know what lacrosse is.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be some cross promotions, and that all comes with like one of my next questions was like sponsorships in lacrosse. So like again, I know you're not a part of like the business side of it, but like, you know, is there ever talks of like within NLL itself, like we need to be in business with this organizations, like like a MasterCard, a Nike, Samsung, Apple.
I'd hope so. You got to have those talks, right? Like, I think the commissioner they have now, like Brett Freud, like he's got a high-end business sense, and like he's worked with I forget who the racer was, but like,
was it Tony Stewart, I think?
Yeah, Tony Stewart. Like I think
Wonder Bread.
Yeah,
Wonder
like
Bread,
he
sponsor.
Like he's got to have many. He's got to have a nice Rolodex of partners that he can talk to, right? And I know he's actively is like I've spoken to him a few times whenever we've crossed paths. Whether it was at drafts or... It
might have been the other guy, is it Bob, the guy with glasses? I think he did stuff for like the Washington football. I don't know, it might not have been Tony Stewart. Maybe I'm thinking...
No, it was definitely a racer though.
Yeah, it was a racer for sure,
Yeah. But that makes sense too, because wasn't Tony Stewart the one that comes down here?
Yeah, and that's where I think I was thinking of him, because it's Kurt's brother Glenn, and then them kind of having some ties to the race world.
Yeah, so he definitely has some contacts that I'm sure he's always in touch with,
and his kid just committed to a Division I school. I think, was it Ivy League?
No,
was it? Or was
he's in Brown. He committed to Brown. I think it's his one of his son's sophomore year. And then I think, another son just committed for next year.
He lives in North Carolina. Do you think that could be a next like solid spot for a team?
Any spot can be.
As long as it's
Charlotte.
Yeah.
They had a team in Charlotte before, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember.
It was a long time ago.
That was like early 90s, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the attendance was like, but you got to think like Duke's right there.
It's like they're like those teams in North Carolina and all those D2 schools. Like there's a lot of lacrosse down there.
Yeah, because what Pfeiffer's down there. Is High Point there?
High Point's there now.
Yeah.
They're like a newer D1 school. They've made the playoffs and stuff. And then Lee's McRae and Queens. I get Queens and there's.
But the problem is it's almost like the PLL in a sense. Like it's like the PLL is the traveling business model, right? Like they try to go to spots where club tournaments are. Like club tournaments aren't going to go watch your game because they're playing. Or they're going to be tired from playing.
100%,
right?
yeah.
And then colleges, they're either going to be away at their game or they're going to be doing their own thing, right? You're only going to be able to catch them so many times. But being in those areas, there's got to be a lot of lacrosse fans in general. But is there enough to actually make a team and have a team there that would actually sustain it?
And not the kind of. That's where I think the NLL moving to the summer would be tough. Don't you agree with like how big minor lacrosse and stuff is and the NLL being in the summer?
Yeah.
Like it could be tough, right? Like you know what I mean? Like
I
We'd have no refs.
Like
I try to see
both sides, right?
That's one that I always try to do that, and that's one I always keep going back to and trying to see if it would make sense. But at the same time, like that's minor kids season, that's junior season, that's concert season.
Yeah. And like it's
festival season and powwow season. It's summer vacation season. I'm not gonna want to go sit in an arena unless Chris Stapleton's playing something to me,
there
right?
you go.
Yeah, no, and like you said, that's just where I was just like I understood we don't have to compete with the NBA, the NHL. There's just really baseball on TV. But then I was just like, well, Major League Lacrosse and PLL are finding that they want to move from summer because of all the club lacrosse going on. And they would always say for years, oh, mom's been at all this tournament all week and she's not going to go to that Saturday night MLL game. And then now it's PLL that they're finding is the same issue.
Somebody said it to me a few weeks ago. It's almost like there's too much lacrosse now.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah,
like there's too much. And like before you get done lacrosse in August and you put your stick away until April. Pick up your hockey stick and go play hockey, right? And now it's just too much and it's just nonstop.
And I think I just thought of it of like we go to the game last night or being to Rock games in the past, you see Brantford minor and guys have Lincoln minor hats and Hamilton stuff, and then there was ball toss and money funds goes to the Brantford minor. So how can you really do that in a season when there's that Rock game, but Lincoln and Hamilton and Burlington and Brantford are all in tournaments in Huntsville and Windsor and all over the place. It's just tougher, right? Like you said, but like I said, whatever decision they end up making would be the right one for the.
Well, even like right now, like aren't they? Which team was it that just changed the times of the game because like what football was on?
Oh,
was
last week,
like
Rochester.
So you can see that like teams like they're consciously thinking, how do we keep viewership? How do we keep audience?
Well, Philadelphia does that quite a bit too, depending on the Eagles and.
I know it's tougher with Philly because they were like. That was the 1 years ago where the ESPN was like, fans bought tickets to the noon Wings game, Philadelphia Wings game, so they could tailgate in the parking lot for the Eagles night playoff game.
See, like Philly was always a good market for lacrosse, but there's only so much money to go around for tickets. Like you got the 76ers, the Flyers, you got the Eagles. Do they have the Phillies?
Yep.
Then you got
Sixers.
Is there a WNBA team?
I think that's what they're getting is what it is.
And
the
then
WNBA.
you get
Villanova basketball.
Villanova. You got Drexel there too.
Yep.
Or close by.
Yep, Drexel is.
You have all these colleges that are like college sports is a massive thing in the States.
Penn State's probably not too far away, right?
It's not like it's here where if I want to go watch McMaster play basketball, I can just show up.
Yeah.
Like you need to get tickets to go to a Michigan football game. Like for next year, you need to get it last year.
And then with Philly, it's like that stadium, they all play in Villanova basketball, playing in the big games, and then they share a parking lot.
Yeah,
with the Eagle Stadium, and like they're the only like kind of sports hub that does that, I guess. And I guess what is it down the road? They're going to build, I guess, the stadium. Like they're going to
like
a new one.
It's tough because Philly's such a great sports market that you want to be in, but ultimately you're 6th, 7th, 8th on the docket there, right? Like there's only so much money you can put towards tickets. Like I even think that with lacrosse down here too. Like
that we've said that before. They're fighting, right?
We have Junior A, Junior B, Junior C, Senior A, Senior B, Senior C, 2 Senior B teams, 2 Junior B teams. Like there's only so much money to go around. Then you get to Friday night, the Arrows, or Saturday night, or Sunday night at the Arrows game. Like you're last on the docket, right? And that's why we toyed with some ideas of even going on a Thursday, try to be first on the docket.
I remember you guys you guys definitely used to do more Thursday games.
But we would do that with just teams that nobody would come watch and just kind of test it because, first up is Rebels, it's packed house, right? It's payday, or the second day after payday. Then the next day is Rivermen or the Chiefs, and then Arrows or the Stealth, usually Junior C Sunday afternoon, and then we're 5th. And then the Chiefs are either last or first because they're on Tuesday.
And then, like I said, too, those people are maybe I got to spend my $20 at the game my kid's actually playing at, even though I want to watch this Arrows Orangeville game.
Like I remember we talked about this, like us, the Rebels, Rivermen, and Chiefs before doing just like a one ticket, like a one season ticket thing.
Sweet, yeah.
And I forget, I don't know what really happened with it, but it didn't really go as far as I thought it would. But I think that would have been something that would have been pretty good, even if you just have like a flex pack, pick 3 teams. This is your season ticket for those 3 teams, or whatever. Like I don't want to pay extra because I'm not going to go see Senior C or whatever, right? Like I'd rather just pay for the teams that I'm going to go watch play and do a flex pack like that or something like that.
And that's the thing, even more, like even talking to a ref, like this is the only place that has all those teams, and they're all Six Nations, where Brooklyn has, Senior B and Senior A, but then Whippy's got Junior A and Junior C, where like they all have the different names, where here every team's Six Nations. Obviously Grand River Warriors is a little different, but still like has Senior C, Junior C, all the way through to Senior A.
It's almost too much.
Yeah, like you said. Then that's when we get into like what we've talked about before, everybody fighting over the same sponsorships, and
it's too saturated. And see, like when there was less, that was the year we won all 4. Like 2014, we won. Arrows won the Minto, Rebels won the Founders, Rivermen won the Presidents, and the Chiefs won the Man Cup. I think that's the only time it's been done.
Yeah,
like we swept. And then the year after, I think we went 3 of 4.
Yeah, because there is like so much lacrosse that now it's just like, well, if I didn't get to the Rebels game, I can always go to the Arrows game, and then like you have so many options.
But then, at the same time, like tournament season too.
Even sometimes, even if not money wise, I just like don't want to go to every single game. So I'm like picking and choosing who's like, hey, it'd be the Chiefs game. They got some pro guys. Maybe this Rebels game will be a good rivalry, or there's a player on a team that's coming in town you want to watch.
See, it'd be nice if even I know the Junior A's are doing it more. The Chiefs do it I think they do it every game now. Like they record every game.
Yep, they do.
Or put it up on YouTube Live or even whatever. But it'd be nice if a lot more teams were able to do it. I know financially it's not feasible for a lot of these teams, but it'd be nice to have that option more. And that's where we talked about this in Junior A before, like we're talking about commissioners and stuff, and just commissioners shouldn't really be a lacrosse person. It should just be a business person, where they're going out. Their only job is to just go out bring money in, kind of make sure everything's good, have a good business sense of what's happening. And, you know, I even put forward before, like, just bring in a salesman.
Do you guys offer commission? Just being like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah, that's all it would be. Like, whatever.
Give me 10 to 15% of whatever I bring in?
Yeah, whatever. That I put that forward the one year, and it was shot down. I'm like, that's free money.
Yeah, like why not?
Like, why wouldn't we? If he can make if he's making $3,000, that's still $2,700 to us. Like, that we didn't have to do anything for. But I just don't understand lacrosse sometimes.
All you got to do is find one partnership that likes the whole organization, and then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, you know, like, I love what you guys do as a whole. Like, we all love all Six Nations minor lacrosse, and then here's some funding for all the teams.
We talked about that in like junior A, though, like as a league.
Oh, okay.
And I tried to do that. I put that forward for that, and it was just, it's like, I don't understand. Like,
well, what about having a league that's for profit? Like a junior league that's for profit, kind of.
All right, you want to get into that?
Well, I heard we might. It's up to you.
It wasn't for Okay, so when we originally talked about, just some backstory, I guess, like, as a league, junior A league, a lot of the GMs, governors, were kind of getting fed up with the OLA, just based off of, and CLA really, just really, like, junior and senior leagues should have nothing to do with minor organizations. Like, to put it in perspective, I can't see the London Knights of the OHL sitting at the same table as the London Junior Knights of the Alliance Hockey League, saying, what do you guys think we should be doing as a junior team, as a junior league? That's not going to happen. So why should it be any different with lacrosse? So when we talked about that as a league, and whether we wanted to branch out and do our own, where we actually govern ourselves, where we don't need that umbrella of the OLA, where they don't really do nothing unless it's benefiting them. So when we originally talked about that as an organization, as the Arrows, it was always the discussion was, you know, we got to do what's best for the organization, and where we can make the best opportunities for this organization and these kids. And things kind of start going a little sideways with the OLA. Things, you know, we did a racism tribunal with the Human Rights Commission. And we did some meetings, and it was just kind of swept under the rug. Like, I don't think there was any real dialogue when it came to that. I think it was more lip service. And, you know, we get on a Zoom, and, you know, one of the representatives from the OLA's in her bed, in pajama. Like, this, to me, this is a serious thing. Like, you're on a Human Rights Commission tribunal in your pajamas in your own bed.
Because, like, at that time, you had a team say racist stuff to one of your players, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Even
a couple incidences, right? So it wasn't like hey, we're just doing this. There was instances that took place.
That was the year when things were really ramping up with even the minor stuff with, I forget the one player's name. He was wearing a medicine pouch, and the ref said the coach from the other team was saying, oh, that's jewelry. Like, no, it's a medicine pouch. It's not jewelry. Made him take it off. And not just that, there's some other things within juniors and also the seniors. Like, the seniors, the Chiefs, you look at their game sheets, and it's penalties for the Chiefs like this, other team this, warranted or not, I don't know. But it just wasn't kind of
adding up. Yeah,
adding up. Like, it'd be an anomaly if it's just one game, not consistently every game, right? But you know, it just wasn't. I don't think it was the right place for our kids. We wanted to strive for something bigger and better, and that's where a group of us got together and formed a new league called the TLL. And it wasn't going to be for profit. contrary to anything that was said by somebody. We're not grimy like that. It wasn't going to be for profit. It was not for profit, but we were going to run it with more of like the OHL mentality of how we do things. Like we were going to ramp up production. Like we had some serious money behind it. Like guys that were willing to put money into this league and actually promote it more and more of what you see like in like a NLL game. Just more production and more promoting of the players, more player-centric, like how the PLL kind of came out with, like, oh, we're for the players, and you have all the players online saying, oh, this is going to be great, this, right? It was just player-centric. And for whatever reason, a lot of the things that we were going to do with that, it kind of got shot down after a while. You know, the OLA Junior A League, they hired a new commissioner at that time, and he was a politician. And we actually ended up in court over it, and we were told we had to shut down because there was only supposed to be one league in Ontario, so it was more like a monopoly, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, the commissioner they hired was a pretty high politician in Toronto who was connected to all these people. So, in the end, we were told that we weren't allowed to play, and the Junior A League that was intact still, they ended up doing a lot of the things that we were going to do. Like nobody, up until that point, no league had signed any type of deal with the NLL. We did. We didn't even play a game because they knew what we were trying to do, and they knew that we would be good partners for the league. They actually went ahead and was going to promote, like we were going to do a player combine for their draft, because before, like the NLL would do a player combine, and they do in Oakville for any draft eligible players, and for whatever reason it stopped. I'm not sure why, but they stopped doing it. So we approached them with the idea that, hey, we'll do this for you. We'll partner up and whatnot. So they're all on board, and then it got put on the shelf because, you know, political reasons, I guess. And
because I think, were you guys going to do that in St. Catharines or something?
Yeah, we had rented out the Meridian Center. We were going to do a full week of games and combine stuff. A lot of NLL coaches were going to come and run it. Like it was going to be a big thing, and it got shut down. And then the Junior A League ended up doing a bubble in Oakville, which wasn't talked about at that time until we were going to do the St. Catharines thing. And so, yeah, that's why I talk about trying to evolve the game, like try to elevate it to something bigger. Like there's always something bigger, like even talking about like our minor lacrosse, like how we putting together the new program for like the qualifier program for the U13, 15 to 17 kids. Like they need something a little bit more than what a U9 player would at that point, right? Like these teams are playing upwards of 35 to 45 games if they go all the way, where U9s are only playing maybe 24 games.
Well, even like a guy gets suspended from, let's say he got tossed from a game coaching his kid's minor team, he then can't play Chiefs because it's all OLA and vice versa. And it's like,
see, that's one of the things too. Like it's more overreach, like a government overreach type program they started running. But yeah, like we had the one player down here, I believe it was Roger Weiss, I think it was. Like he got the kibosh on playing Senior B.
Oh yeah, yep.
But he was coaching his kid in the OLA that was U9, I think it was. Like it literally has nothing to do with this. So how are you growing the game when you're saying, if you want to go play over there, go ahead, but you're not coaching this kid? Like why take a guy like Roger, who has so much experience in the game, away from 9-year-old kids because he wanted to go play somewhere else where they had room for him to play? what's growing the game about that?
Well, I think that, like, again, back to the growing the game, their version of growing the game isn't the same as ours. They want to grow it in the vision of what they see it as. Like, it's almost like rewriting history of, like, here's what lacrosse will be talked about, you know?
See, like with the Human Rights Commission thing, the tribunal thing, they asked what we wanted, and one of the things we asked for was just a seat at the table. They're like, well, nobody wants it. Nobody comes and never tries to get a seat at the table. I'm like, well, we're here now. We're asking for a seat at the table. It doesn't have to be paid. We just want a seat at the table. They're like, well, trying to remember the words verbatim, but it was more like, we can't just create a position. You know what happened 3 weeks later? They created a position for something else.
Yeah, that's, you know, like...
And then they came out, but we're like, well, what about an advisory thing? They said no. And then maybe a year later, they come talking to some other people about trying to form an advisory from down here and other reserves. And it's like, what was the issue then?
Why? So they can go get some funding? Yeah. That's the name of the game, right?
Yep. And, you know, one of the big things that happened was at the 17 Minto Cup when we were there in Brampton, and one of the CLA reps, I won't say who, but we were actually in the pre-tournament meeting that when you go to the national championship, you usually have the GMs and head coaches in a pre-tournament meeting just to go over, this is our ref in chief, this is what we're looking, this, that, the other, all right? So I don't know why it got brought up, but it got brought up that, you know, we were kind of hoping that Six Nations would leave the OLA and create their own league so that we wouldn't have to deal with the racism stuff. And I didn't think about it then. And then we left the meeting, and the guy that I brought with me, we were walking out to my truck, and he goes, did that guy really say that? And I go, what? And he said that to me again. I'm like, yeah, he did say that, didn't he? Like, they don't, like that guy said, and we brought that up in the tribunal, and it was denied. Like, there's no proof that I could say it other than if it was recorded. But, you know, the fact that I heard it, another guy heard it, everybody else probably heard it. Like, it was kind of a weird thing. Like, if you guys start your own league, then you'll have an automatic bid to the Minto Cup. You'll have your own Junior A league. Then we try to do it, then they tell us no. So, you know, it's just so, yeah.
To me, it's like a new form of assimilation, or, you know. Like,
I didn't want to say those words, but yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll say it. Yeah, I said it.
But, you know, they always want the input, but they don't want it. They want us to help, but they don't want us to help.
They want the knowledge, but they don't want to use the knowledge for the right purpose. So they want to use it for funding. They want to have be an advisor, so we can say that we have some Indigenous people and go get some money for it.
Like even the CLA, like they used to have an Aboriginal advisor. I think the last one was Rusty Dockstader, and since he passed away, then I don't think they've had anyone since. Like, it's just never been posted about or talked about again, and just kind of, you know. And I truly believe that the TLL was the right model that was going to happen, and we weren't just talking about junior. Like, it was going to trickle down to junior B. Ultimately, we're going to do the midgets, the bantams, the peewees. Like, we were going to start trickling down year after year to every level, because, you know, we're the only ones with the balls to say, this is fucked up. The OLA is a fucking mess, and it's fucked up at that time. And everybody else would text it or say it, call. You guys are right. You guys are right. Say it publicly. Don't say it to me. Say it out loud so everybody else can hear it. Don't, like, you know, even when the racism stuff came up, like, everybody tweet, oh, we stand with Six Nations. Do you? Yeah, that's lip service. You're putting a tweet out, but where are you?
You guys leaving if Peterborough Lakers and you had some maybe people from those different organizations leave, and they were starting their own teams, the Oshawas and the Burlingtons. But if OLA was actually going to lose a Kitchener and a Peterborough and a St. Catharines Athletics, then maybe, like, you know, it could have been easier, right? Almost of like here.
Well, originally that's how it was supposed to happen. Right? We were supposed to leave together, and then I don't know. It just seemed like it was, well, let's just wait and see. Let's see what they do. Let's see what the OLA does. And like, we know nothing's changed. Nothing still hasn't changed. They're still forcing stuff on the league. Alora.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like what?
And like you said, that stuff, it's like, when's that junior A draft ever going to happen, right? Like, you kind of, they postponed it last second, and like it's a lot of Ottawa Capitals, right? They even brought up a good thing on Twitter. Like, they don't realize these kids, like especially in his area, being they don't OLA didn't let them have a junior A team, right? It got voted down. He's like, all these kids I coach and kind of in the program are, they want to see where they're going to go and where their lacrosse futures are going to go, and then the draft got postponed, right? And so,
see, even that, like even the junior A expansion, like turning down Nepean, Kahnawake. Like I even heard, like when it comes to the Kahnawake, I don't know the reason. I know why the reason on Nepean. But even one of the, I talked to somebody from Kahnawake, and they said even one of the teams in the league said, "Well, how much are you guys going to pay us to get you into the league?" Like, the fuck.
Just blatantly out there saying,
yeah, like, are you going to pay for us to come to you guys? Like, see, that's what we wanted to get away from. Like, when we always brought stuff forward in the league. Like, we were always wanting to something better for the league. And whenever it came down to money, oh, we can't do that. We don't have the money. We don't have. And money was mismanaged. There was a lot of money in the league. I think 2006, a lot of money came into the league to host a Minto Cup, and nothing was ever done with it. Not invested in, nothing. It just went dry, like within 10 years. And when it came time to actually invest in the league and let's try to do this, let's do this. Like a lot of them just didn't want anything to do with it, like because it was going to be money. And they didn't want to have to work to fundraise or whatever, right? Like, at junior A, like in lacrosse, even junior B, like it's not like it is in hockey where you have a rich owner or whatever, right? You have this solid financial base behind you. Lacrosse, it's just a lot community driven, and so I understand that part, and that's kind of where we wanted to get it out of that, where we can just say, what do you guys think about this? Yes, let's try it. Instead of, well, let's just wait. No, we better not. We're more toward, we want it to be, yes, let's go this way, not just stay here or go down. We want it to keep going. Yes, and I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions of lacrosse is it's just, we're always excelling, but are we really though? When everything, like even you go to BC, like same thing as Ottawa, like Maple Ridge, they should be in junior A lacrosse. You look at the junior A draft the last however many years, it's all Maple Ridge kids. Like, why are they not having a team? Oh, because if they have a team, we can't draft their kids and make our teams better. Like, really, are you really doing what's best for the game by doing that? And that's why, that's why we're trying to get away from stuff like that and actually trying to do what's best for the game and not limit ourselves to a rule book that only applies when it applies to certain people.
What's your thought on revisiting that conversation about that league? Like, is there ever, like, without giving out too information, you never want to tell anyone what's going on, but is there ever thoughts of like, hey, let's pick up where we left off?
Before I get to that, I'll talk about another league that started up at the same time, the CLL, Chris Fox. So this, he created this out of kind of same thin air, before it was just kind of like a world junior game, kind of like a world junior games, but it was only at that point, it was only at the end of August, I think, or beginning of August. And he only wanted players from junior teams that were out of the playoffs. If your junior playoffs are done, come play for Team Canada or come play for Team Haudenosaunee or come play for Team Ireland or whatever teams he had there, right? He wasn't picking players off of rosters that were still in playoffs. He was respectful about that. And there's never an issue with this tournament or league until he said that he was starting up a CLL, like Canadian Lacrosse League, which it wasn't going to be a league. It was just going to be a combine league that we would go to different provinces and run these combines and stuff, right? Because he offered a product that was different than what the OLA or CLA offered. He actually takes kids to Australia. He takes kids to all these different places to have tournaments and these different experiences. And now he's got this OLA and CLA saying, and BCLA saying, if you play for this league, you're not playing anymore. You're going to be suspended for a year. Like, why? Because he's offering a different product that you're not offering? But what was so crazy about the whole situation was, like, you know, you have lacrosse media, and they all got quiet on all this stuff, right? Like, if you're lacrosse media, cover it. Whatever it is, if it's cool, if it's trendy, or if it's not trendy, you still need to cover it.
Well, that's what I think,
and there's only two people that did it for the TLL and CLL. Jake Elliott called me when he heard about the TLL and said, do you want to come on the podcast and talk about it? And I told him, just give me a week or two, then we'll get on. And we never ever did, for whatever reason. And then Steven Stamp is the other one, because he loves the game, he loves to cover it, and he's a journalist, right? That's what he's
from Lax now, right?
Yeah, he's a Peterborough guy.
Okay, yeah.
He's the tall guy. He's good. Like,
he was doing the Warriors games and stuff. The Can-Am, you'd see him.
If there's lacrosse and you call him, he's going. Like, he loves the game. But you know, like that was one of the things that bothered me about it, is you have all these lacrosse media just silent on it. And then the big OLA Junior A blitz comes up, and yes, let's try to squash this league. And they had people higher up in the Junior A league messaging players, like, we did a full-on draft and everything, and like, it was going to be elite teams, like the best of the best teams, because there's only going to be 4 teams the first year, and they were stacked, like all-star teams. And they're messaging players, don't go, you're going to get suspended, and this, that, and the other, like scaring some. But we were like, we had a high-end player, 2 high-end players that actually went in on our side to say, well, I want to play for this league. Like, there's no reason that I can't. And we never said you can't play in the OLA either. We just said, come play for us. If you want to play for them, go play for them too. Because
there was even somebody, like, they kind of remember those, like, he was kind of showing me during the week, and I was like, I think that's the same rules that has been since the TLL going around of we'll suspend you and stuff. It was almost just kind of like how they worded it a little different, right? And then you seen the other one where it literally said don't play CLL.
They had in brackets which leagues they were talking about.
Yeah, because when they came out with that, they said that's been there for years, but it's never been there for years. It just quietly overnight.
Yeah, I think like he just seen it, right? And that's when we just never seen it on papers, where last year people were saying how, like, hey, I want to go to this tournament, and I think it was NBC?
Well, they're telling kids, you can't go to a recruiting tournament. You're not offering that, though. Why can't he go try to get a recruiting spot to further his education? Like, I get why they said it, because, well, if they have their own game, if he gets hurt, then now they're down a guy. Yeah, that's a risk we're going to take regardless of where we're playing. We take that risk when we get in a vehicle.
Because then, I guess, like, Team Ontario offers, but then you only take 20 kids. Where those other 20 kids going to play?
Same with the CLL. Like,
I heard they're starting. They started a thing now too, right?
I don't know.
I was hearing they were starting some things to almost kind of compete with Team Ontario, and may kind of water down of how, like, there's the Haudenosaunee development team and stuff, and I think they kind of saw that, and now they're trying to make a Team Canada kind of development team, and then those kids will only be able to play that, won't be able to play Team Ontario. So, I don't know.
But it's the same thing, like the hockey. It like Team Canada that plays in the Spengler Cup in Switzerland. They're still called Team Canada. Who cares? But just to answer your question, I guarantee you somebody will start up a league. It might not happen this year. It might not happen next year. I don't know who, but somebody will. Somebody will start up a different organization, and it will be better. And I think it'll be done properly this time. And I guarantee it'll happen. And
plus, too, that last time there was a pandemic, so that kind of gave you guys even another loophole of kind of figuring out where like you do it kind of without that. And
And you know what's crazy is how you say that all these media outlets didn't pick up, the story, and they're me and Vale were talking about last night how they're all talking about breaking stories, and they're always on Twitter about, I broke this story first, I broke that. We broke this one first. Let's see, how many years did you have to break this story? You did nothing.
But it's just like why the silence on it when if you're supposed to cover lacrosse, cover it.
Yeah,
cover it.
Like you said, I don't think inside lacrosse or indoor. I never remember reading any articles about it. Right? It was just
Stamper was the only one.
Yeah, he did. Right? Yeah.
Shout out to you.
But other than that, Jake Elliott reached out, and Jake's a good lacrosse guy too. So no others other than.
And I remember you guys like listed the drafts. Like you guys had like you did the like a lot of
it was big. It was
top
big
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it was big, and then.
Yeah, Ted Nolan involved. Like you had some even guys in advisory boards.
Yeah,
and stuff.
we had Kurt Stiers, Ted Nolan. We had, I forget the doctor's name that was going to oversee the league, and we had a few others like high-end people. Garrett Ball, Garrett Ball, who he's one of the head guys in Golf Canada. I think.
Golf Canada. Yeah, Brantford guy
like
played lacrosse, but then
a whole different. He played lacrosse, but a whole different
with Golf Canada. Yeah,
but a whole different perspective on everything, and just different partnerships that he could have offered us that way too. Like it was just outside the box.
Well, I don't know how high level I am, but I'll throw my name in there. You guys need some help? I'm like Blade McDonald. I don't say no. I'll be there. I'll be there to clean up the mess when you guys do whatever you guys do.
It won't be me this time.
Yeah, you guys need some PR. I'll clean it all up.
It won't be me this time.
But we do have to get going. We've had quite the podcast. We're gonna have you back. I have more questions. I have pages of questions we didn't get to.
I can talk this stuff all day long.
We have a part 2 coming.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a part 2. But until next time. Any other comments until next time?
Oh, thanks, Jake, for coming on. Right, we had to reschedule from Tuesday, and thanks for coming out in the storm and everything.
And definitely come back on because I still got more questions. So there's a part 2 coming.
There's more teams helping out that we haven't even gotten to talk about that he's still on the bench.
Yeah, we literally got 3 pages left. But this was a great episode. New year, 2026 is going to be great. Hopefully, all these news outlets that cover lacrosse are going to also talk about some of this. And until next time.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Crazy Game Podcast. Peace.